Please remain standing, beloved brothers and sisters, for the next 5 minutes or so. We're going to pour libation. And for those of us who know, we will know that the pouring of libation is a ritual that is as old as Mama Africa itself. Yeah. It is a ritual, brothers and sisters, that reminds us of our divinity. It reminds us of our sacred spirit. It reminds us that we are spiritual beings having a physical experience, and that when the spirit becomes too powerful, the body becomes too weak to house the power of the spirit ascends into a higher realm. But it reminds us that the spirit is the property of the creator of the universe, and therefore it is indestructible, it does not die. And that spirit remains in the universe. We can call on that energy to empower us. We can call on that energy to bless us. We're going to call on that energy right now, brothers and sisters, and I'm going to invite you to open your hearts and open your souls to the wisdom of our ancestors and reconnect ourselves with our source. I'm going to ask us all to let our faith govern our thinking and our action right now. We're going to call upon the ancestors, the link, the natural link between ourselves and the creator of the universe, because it was through the body, mind, and spirit of our ancestors that we were brought into being. Is that right, brothers and sisters? And through the body, mind, and spirit of our ancestors, we are awakened to consciousness. We come to know, we come to learn through the wisdom of our ancestors, passing down the generations through our parents and onto us. So we have much to give our ancestors thanks for. Tenemare, 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 one mukro, Kuzai was a mukro, Kuzai was a mukro, Kuzai was a mukro, tenemare, tenemare, brother word, brother Gai Maswi, and in Notaura, Nipumwa, Muyomako, Zinziquin Memoire. May the words of our mouths and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight, O Jah of our creation. Tenamare, Mare, Kumbore, Africa, Sungai, Simusile, Zitarayo, Miswagi, Mitero, Yedo, Ismuriayo, Itumuriako, Uyamaya, Uyamaya, Kumbore, Uyamaya, Muspene, Istumuriayo, Itumuriako, Tenamare, Mwarija, God bless Africa. Lift up the name of Africa on high. Hear our humble prayers, oh Mwari, oh Jah. We the family of Africa. We this family of Africa. Come, Great Spirit, come and bless us. Come, Great Spirit, come and be with us. We the family of Africa. We this family of Africa. Behold, behold, behold how good and how pleasant it is for sons and daughters of Africa to be gathered in honor of our way. Behold the power, behold the glory, behold the beauty, behold the splendor. For how sweet the life that is so lived in the spirit of its naturalness. And oh, precious moments when souls of Al-Kepulan, Mama Africa, shall rise in honor and glory of our majesty. Oh, for the day when all our voices shall be raised to proclaim the victory of justice, truth, and righteousness. Return to the way. Return to the way. Return to the way. Return to the way. African people, return to the way. Reclaim your culture. Return to the way. Reclaim your history. sisters. Reclaim your language. Reclaim your names. Reclaim your rituals. Reclaim your ceremonies. Reclaim your prophets. Reclaim your prophecies. Reclaim your philosophies. Reclaim your vision. Reclaim your purpose. Reclaim your destiny. Return to the way. Return to the way. Return to the way. Return to the way. African people, return to the way. Sons and daughters of Africa, return your way. The way is the way of Ma'at, truth, justice, and righteousness. Return to the way. The way is the way of Jehuti, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Return to the way. The way is the way of Muzimu Mukuru, the great ancestors. The way of Muzimu Mukuru is true and is right and is good. Return to the way. Return to the way. Return to the way. Great ancestor Mama Africa. Great ancestor Mama Africa. Come. Great ancestor Mama Africa. Come. We call you from the east. Call you from the west. Call you from the north. Call you from the south. From around the circumference of the globe. From the height of Mount Kilimanjaro. And on the mountains of Mama Africa. To the depth of the river Nile. And all the waters of Mama Africa. Here we call you. Here we call you. From the shores of Mama Africa. Europe, Asia, North and South America. The isles of the Pacific. The Caribbean. Come. From the Red Sea. The Atlantic Ocean. The Sahara Desert. Come. We're just going to call upon some names of ancestors. And then we close it out, brothers and sisters. We're going to call, first of all, we acknowledge our ancestors from ancient times. Those who gave land, who gave knowledge and civilization and culture to the world. Builders of the first schools, the first universities, hospitals. We call upon those great wise ancestors. We call upon the ancestors who mastered the healing arts, the prophets of healing, who mastered the healing arts, healing of the mind, healing of the body, healing of the soul. We call upon our great ancestors, the ones who shed their blood in the wars for African liberation, African dignity, African empowerment. We call upon those ancestors, the Zulu warriors, the Xhosa warriors, the Ndebele warriors, Sharpeville warriors, Soweto warriors, Haiti warriors, warriors of the Rastafari movement, Black Power warriors, Black Panther warriors. We call upon you, we invoke your awesome, powerful spirit, and we pledge on this day that not one drop of your historic, heroic, revolutionary blood will be shed in vain. We will vindicate every drop of your blood that has been shed for our liberation. Right. Oh yes we will. Oh yes we will. Yes we will. Oh, say it, brothers and sisters, say yes we will. Yes we will. Come on, like you mean it. Come on. Yes we will. Yes we will. Yes we will. Make Babylon tremble. Say it like you mean it. Babylon tremble. Come on, say it one more time. Yes we will. Yes we will. All right. Those who didn't say I will, we said we will. We're up against a global force that is unstoppable. Let us call upon the precious names of our ancestors. We're going to call upon the warrior queens, the goddesses. First, we call upon Queen Hatshepsut. Uyai! Say Uyai after each name. And you can shout a name if it comes to your mind, brothers and sisters. We call upon Queen T, Amos Nefertari, we call upon Yasantewa, Nehanda, Queen Makeda, Queen Nsang, Amy Jakes Garvey, Amy Ashwood Garvey, Henrietta Vinton Davis, Afurika Banto, we call upon Sister Nkechi Ode, Uyai. Let us call upon some King Babas, some warrior kings of our history. Some king gods of our history. We call upon the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Messiah Garvey, His spirit and mission child, the eminent prophet and king, Papa Omowale Malcolm X, Patrice Lumumba, Dedan Kimati. We call upon King Prempe, King Bianche, King Tahaka, Tenkaminin, Shaka Zulu. We call upon Walter Rodney, Kwame Ture, Kwame Nkrumah. We call upon His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie. Baba Kwame Ani. Ras, come on, why is there a brato no way? We're just going to commune. Now just do it quickly on all our behalf. Communing with the ancestors. In fact, let us raise the Father Heaven, Lord to Mother Earth, acknowledge the great ancestors, and feed our stomach. Pray the blessing of the ancestors on him this evening as he navigates us through a very important mind and spiritual revolutionary process. Brother Kemi Seba, we evoke the spirits of the ancestors to saturate his mind and his soul this day, this afternoon, with their wisdom, with their strength, with their courage, so he will bring the word that we need to hear. Father Heaven, Mother Earth, our great ancestors in Father Heaven, Mother Earth, our great ancestors. Thanks and praises. Tendai Mare! Tendai Mare! Tendai Mare! Let us make some noise by clapping our hands and stamping our feet and raising our voices.
There are some organizations in the building, and we're just going to hear from them to understand what kind of work they are doing and also pledge our solidarity to Brother Kemi Seba and Agence Pan-Africaniste this evening. And first and foremost, to begin with, let me introduce you to our translator, yes, for this evening, Brother Sly. Come forward, please, Brother Sly.
Hello, good afternoon to you all.
Good afternoon.
It is a real pleasure and honor to be among so many lovely Africans who care deeply about the well-being of the motherland. In this time of misinformation and distraction, it is refreshing to be surrounded by like-minded people who are aware and conscious of the urgent time in which we're in. I would like to introduce myself first. My name is Sly. My full name is Sylvester Mido. I am from the DRC, DR Congo, and I am also, thank you. And I am also a member of the Congolese Action Youth Platform, which is a organization that was born here in London to raise awareness about the humanitarian crisis happening in the DR Congo. We did this through lots of work of outreach in schools, university, and events like these ones. And also one of the main campaigns that we have pushed over the year is one called the Genocost. And it is about the recognition of the genocide that is currently happening in the DR Congo that is very little spoken about. And when spoken about it, this story is often mischaracterized as ethnic warfare. We think that it is very important for us as Africans, especially now in the 21st century, where we have access to information on a global scale, where we can use this wonderful tool called the internet to broadcast the truth out there, to tell our truth. For a long time, we haven't had the opportunity to do this because the media institutions were held back by colonizers. But today that we have equality on this level playing field called the internet, we really wanted to raise our voice and correct the record. And for that, I want to tell you this. What is happening in Congo at the moment and in many places in Africa is anything but ethnic warfare. To kind of give you a small background so that you get up to speed, and I won't be long. The history of the Congo has always been marked from its foundation by a brutal exploitation of Africans for their wealth. Back in the days of colonization, when the Belgian king came, the King Leopold II, the King of Belgium, and when they went to Berlin and carved out Africa in 1885 in the Berlin Conference, what many people don't know is that the Berlin Conference had three names. One of them was the Berlin Conference. The other one was the East African Conference, and the other one was the Congo Conference. And the reason why it was called the Congo Conference as well is because Congo was at the center of a potential war amongst colonial power because of its wealth. The curse of Congo, as some call it, but I choose to call it the gift of Congo, is that it has always been crucial to the world's economic and dynamic because of its wealth. Back in those days, Congo was the #1 resource of rubber and ivory and gold. But rubber, in particular, was crucial around that time because it was around the time of the automobile revolution, the automobile boom. So just think about all the buses, the cars, the tires, the bicycle that needed the rubber. Congo had a vast forest. And to exploit that rubber, King Leopold used the most brutal of techniques, which consisted in kidnapping members of villages. They would get in there, and those who could not run away, the women and the children, would be kidnapped, and the men would be forced to work for a quota. And God forbid you don't meet your quota, they will chop off the hands of your children, your wife, and even your own one. It was a brutal exploitation that saw over 10 million Congolese people being killed, which was back then the equivalent of half the population. We have lost entire tribes that today we will never know even existed throughout this trade. That was the tragedy of Congo 100 years ago, and to this day, there is not a single stone a monument, or anywhere that in Congo commemorate or establish the horror of what has happened. And there's a saying that says, if you don't know your history, if you don't know where you come from, people that don't know their history then are bound to repeat the same mistake. I can tell you that Congo is a living proof of that. So it is important for us to know our history, because 100 years on, the same story is happening, but it's no longer for rubber that we found today. No, no, no. Today, the new rubber is something called coltan. It's something called cobalt. You hear about this electronic cars that we need to do. You hear about the green revolution that we need to move on. I am not against saving the environment, brother, don't get me wrong. But at what price? At the moment, the greatest conflict the world has seen since World War II, that has killed, back in 2008, up to over 6 million people, is in DR Congo. It is one of the most underreported conflicts in the world, and it is raging as we speak right now, with children as young as 6-year-old digging in mines so that Tesla can make you an electric car. That is the reality that is happening right now. And when it's reported on the news, they're telling you that it is this tribe, trying to fight the people of that tribe because they don't have the land. But those tribes have been living in peace for over centuries. Why did they start fighting? Is it because a multinational corporation has come and evicted people of the land? Is it because factories have been built that polluted the water, making it undrinkable? Is it because they are no longer able to feed and proceed in the very land that their ancestors have given them because someone 10 million miles away needs to make money? That is the real tragedy of Congo that has always been. And that's why we have called it a genocide, which is a genocide perpetuated for economical gain. It is purely and simply economically driven with a racial undertone that an African life is not worth protecting. That is the campaign that we are fighting for, to get the world to know what is going on and to put an end with demand justice and reparation for everything that is going on. And so today, I'm glad to be able to be here amongst you and support the organization of Brother Kemi Seba, who has also been a big supporter of our movement, sending a solidarity message on the 2nd of August last year, when we were commemorating for the first time after 10 years of campaigning the genocide in Kinshasa, in DR Congo, with political leaders and the Minister of Human Rights saying that there will be building stones and memorial for the people that have been killed in the genocide in Congo. So today, I'm here to tell you one thing. No matter how small you are, no matter how little resources you have, you do have the means to make a difference, because we did not have millions of dollars when you started this campaign. But today, from London here, a small group of young people have been able to change the narrative happening in the Congo. We have been able to get an entire government to acknowledge that what is happening needs to be changed, that the narrative needs to be changed, that the genocide needs to be recognized, and it needs to be called for what it is. It is economic, not tribal. So today, as you stand, know that there is power in you. Know that you can make a difference. And when you're going to be listening to the empowering word of Brother Kemi Seba about the wonderful work that he has done against the franc CFA and many other oppressive systems that's been established by neocolonial power in Africa, I want you to leave feeling empowered. I want you to leave knowing that you can make a difference. And I want you to actually join an organization if you can't make a difference by you. And if you don't have the idea, you don't have to come up with it by yourself. But there is many organizations, many people, and many wise people in this room that you can speak to, and to do something that will make a long-lasting impact, maybe not for you, but for your children and for Africa as a whole. And I want to thank you once again for your time, and I'll give back the mic to Brother Chakra.
I want you to give a special hailing to Brother Babu, because Brother Babu is from an organization called Arise Oslo, yeah? Now, you may recognize a word in the name of that organization. Where is Oslo, brothers and sisters? In Norway. Well, brother Babu and brother Chivuma, please stand, brother Chivuma, have traveled today here from Norway, Oslo in Norway, to be here today. Yeah? And keep your round of applause going as I welcome brother Babu to the platform for a solidarity message.
In the spirit of Mbuya Nehanda, Kwame Nkrumah, Cecile Fatiman, Duty Bookman, Claudia Jones, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Asata Shakur, Patrice Lumumba, Mama Winnie Mandela, Thomas Sankara, Mehdi Ben Barka, and all worthy ancestors, I greet you. My name is Babu Katembo. I'm honored to have received Brother Shakara's invitation to relay a message of solidarity, love, and revolutionary commitment. I'm speaking to you today on behalf of our organization, Africans Rising in Solidarity and Empowerment. Arise. Arise. Our organization is committed to the liberation of all African people on the continent and the diaspora, regardless of class, gender, sexuality, ability, nationality, or religion. Arise was initiated in the summer of 2018 by young people of African descent living in Oslo, who were determined to build a sustainable platform for our community to identify, critique, and support efforts relevant to social issues that directly affect us within Norwegian society. Our objective is to safeguard and strengthen African people's social, economic, and political interest and well-being using every available resources at our disposal. Part of that effort to resist the impact of global anti-blackness, we cultivate, preserve, and promote Pan-African unity and black internationalism through our many platforms. The great Pan-Africanist Kwame Nkrumah once said, Africans must unite or, thank you, Africans must unite or. Therefore, Arise work is guided by the many lessons we have picked up from past and present organized resistance. In keeping up with our commitment to Pan-Africanism and Black internationalism, we collaborated with the African Student Association in Oslo to jointly coordinate the We Can Breathe Justice for George Floyd demonstration on June 5th, 2020. This protest became one of the largest and significant rallies in Norwegian history, with over 15,000 protesters gathering in front of the US Embassy and the Norwegian Parliament to protest the systematic killing of Black and African people. Beyond the protest, Arise has developed many platforms in collaboration with organizations from our community in Oslo and South Africa. These include Black Love. Black Love, say it with me. Black Love. Yes. Black Love is an interactive dialogue exclusively for African people, inspired by a similar program implemented at the Ebokosini Solution in South Africa under the leadership of Baba Buntu. Yeah. Sister to Sister is a safe space for Black African women. Shabaka, a forum exclusively for African men to discuss self-development, culture, relationships, identity, spirituality, family empowerment, economic development, sexuality, and manhood. Kwanzaa, a yearly family festivity focusing on celebrating, reclaiming our African identity and heritage. Africa in Actuality, a community learning cycle and a transformative space for those who are interested in engaging with radical politics, thoughts, and ideas about Africa in particular and the world in general. Through dialogue and discussions, we analyze events of actuality and expose Europe's imperialist activities on the continent with a specific emphasis on Norway. Norway. Although Norway often portrays itself as a peaceful and benevolent nation, our analysis reveals that its geopolitical ambitions and strategies consistently disregard the interest of African people. Our ultimate goal at Arise is to build a broader and more sustainable movement which can bring about a long-lasting systematic change that goes beyond mere policy modifications and reforms. Our objective is to continue our consciousness-raising activities, mobilize young African people, and build their capacity to fight systemic racism, Euro-American racial capitalism, and global imperialism. Our African roots and diverse cultural backgrounds are the source of our strength, and we must harness these historical and cultural gifts for our liberation. As a collective, we possess a multitude of potent and effective methods and resources that enable us to tackle the many challenges we encounter. We believe, for example, that the most effective strategy in combating anti-Black racism is to initiate that change within our communities at a psychic level first. This entails harnessing the power of our collective voices, organizing ourselves, acquiring the skills to combat all forms of oppression. In the current climate of geopolitical world crisis, the call for global African unity, solidarity, and self-determination is eminent and more urgent than ever. With the superpowers, once again, trying to consolidate their power through African bodies and on African soil, as we are witnessing in Sudan right now. The last time the global Black African community explicitly found itself under the tyranny of the global anti-Black imperialists was during the so-called Cold War era, which wasn't so cold for those Africans who, through the barrel of a gun, took the matter of Africa's liberation into their own hands. A new but familiar war is before us today, and we must be awake to it and act. Following in the revolutionary footsteps of all the brave ancestors whose spirits are here with us today. We have in our midst a brother who's been fighting for many years for African people's liberation. Kemi Seba and his organization, Urgent Pan-Africain, have been consistently and firmly propagating the interest of Africa in a world built on the exploitation of African people. Driven by his love for our people, Brother Kemi Seba embarked on a journey of African reawakening, spreading the message of Pan-Africanism, self-determination, and black liberation to all corners of the world. It takes a revolutionary love, commitment, and audacity to advocate for the interest of Africa in a world that is addicted to our oppression and subjugation. Our brother Kemi Seba and his organization, Urgent Pan-Africain, have remained consistent and steadfast in their efforts to liberate our people from ignorance, complacency, and inaction. It is an honor to learn from him and witness what true leadership looks like. In an age of false prophets, demagogues, and treacherous misleaders, Kemi Seba is a breath of fresh air that our people have been yearning for since the beginning of the neutralization or co-intelproing of our most reliable leaders. My brother Chivuma and I are looking forward to grounding with you today. We are here to bear witness and emphasize that Kemi Seba's message transcends geography and resonates with even those of us in Norway, in the far corners of Scandinavia. In keeping with our ancestral practice of call and response, please join me in affirming our commitment to Black liberation, unity, and solidarity by shouting, "Together we rise." Together we rise. Thank you. So I'm going to say arise, and then all of you are going to get up and say, "Together we rise," while you're pumping your fist up, if you don't mind. All right? Arise! Together we rise. Thank you.
Ashe. The Osajefo calls for the establishment of two major institutions. One is the All African People's Revolutionary Party, and the other is the All African People's Revolutionary Army. All right? So we're not going to talk about the army today, but we do have a representative of the party, the AAPRP, the All African People's Revolutionary Party. And so please welcome to the platform Brother Nsang from the All African People's Revolutionary Party.
Good afternoon, everyone. In the language of my father, I will greet you all saying Mbolan, which means welcome, everyone. In Fang, I'm from Equatorial Guinea. Mbolan. Yeah, and then you can respond Mbolano. There we go. So first and foremost, many thanks to Brother Shakara and his team for organizing this historic event. I know that is the second time that we bring in Brother Kemi Seba and his organization to the UK, but it's a pleasure for me. I was saying to one of our cadres as well, it's a pleasure to come to a room, see it filled here in the UK, and not knowing the faces. For me, it's great, because it means that there is a lot of more people interested in what is happening back home. My name is Nsang Christia Esimi. A lot of people knows me as Obiang. I'm a cadre at the All African People Revolutionary Party, AAPRP, a party set up by Osajefo Kwame Nkrumah and Hamed Sékou Touré, both founders of the independent Africa post-colonialism. This is a revolutionary party called upon on the Handbook for the Revolutionary Warfare by Osajefo Kwame Nkrumah and spread through the diaspora by our camarada Kwame Touré, who coined the movement of Black Power, as you should know. The APRP emerges from the heralds and intensification of the African and larger worldwide struggles for democratic rights, for national independence and unity, and for scientific socialism. At the same time, it uncompromisingly and unceasingly fights for the inevitable destruction of capitalism, imperialism, racism, Zionism, and apartheid, and obviously neocolonialism. The primary focus of our work is temporary on the college campuses, politically educating our people in the diaspora and back home, and recruiting an initial cadre from amongst the revolutionary African intelligentsia. Our immediate task is to organize the All African People Revolutionary Party through cells and work study groups. I'm saying this because this is a platform to call for organization. People need to educate themselves, organize, and we need to fight together neocolonialism. From the APRP, we send our solidarity to our brother Kemi Seba and Urgences Pan-Africanistas. It is with great admiration that we follow your work and how through the years consistently you have mobilized the masses in Europe and in the diaspora, in Europe and back home in Africa. And your consistency and determination despite all the persecutions, encarcelations of the neocolonial elites that we have in Africa is remarkable. You set the path to follow for many in this journey against neocolonialism and imperialism. Now, these last few years, the efforts of this organization to bridge the different communities in the continent and in the diaspora, from those who were colonized by the French, the Spanish, the German, the British, you embody the practice, in practice, real Pan-Africanism as our forefathers, such as Osajefo Kwame Nkrumah and Hamed Sékou Touré, one from the so-called Anglophone world, the other one from the Francophone world, bringing together and showing what Pan-Africanism can achieve. And this is very important for us. When we look at our history, you can see that those people that were revolutionary and were bringing progress to our people, they were killed or they received cues. There is no doubt about it. Everything that we have right now in the continent, aside of maybe Mali, Burkina, and Guinea-Conakry, everything else, it's puppet governments. Trust me, I'm from Equatorial Guinea, and I have the longest serving puppet that exists in the continent and in the world. It's gonna be 44 years this year. This man has been in power with his sons in power as well. So for us, it's important to understand that these people don't represent us. The African Union doesn't represent us. So, therefore, from the All African People Revolutionary Party, we extend our hands, especially from our chapters in Guinea, Ghana, Burkina Faso, Guinea-Bissau, and other places in Africa where we have chapters. We extend our hands to Urgences Pan-Africanistas, to Brother Kemi Seba, and the movement to work together towards an Africa free of neopoties, neocolonial dictators, kleptocrats, neocolonial and imperial forces. In the words of Kwame Touré, I plead to all Africans in this room, organize, organize, organize. Africa must unite. Forward ever.
Yes, I. The three O's, as given to us by Baba Kwame Ture, one of my greatest inspirations ever in life, because I saw this man on video as a 17-year-old, active, next to Martin Luther King, and then I'm watching him as a 60-odd-year-old. Is it 60-odd? When he was 57 when he died, so in his 50s, still on the road, still fighting, still a revolutionary, and that has been my example since I was a child. When I reach Baba Kwame Toure's age, I have to be still on the road, still fighting. And so we give thanks, yeah, for the inspiration. All right? All right. Now I know some of you are wondering, there's a lot of masculine energy, yeah, on the panel at the moment. Peer man, yeah? No, there's nothing wrong with masculine energy, but as a man, you know what, I don't want to go anywhere where there's no woman, you know what I mean? We love it when no woman them around the place, all right? So, now, the reason why, yeah, I've saved this particular sister to last is because she have a power, yeah, that, trust me, like, we put the man them first, because now she's going to come and balance out the whole of the man them, yeah? With the feminine energy, all right? She's that powerful an African woman that the energy that the brothers have just given, she's going to balance it by herself. Are you following me, kings and queens? And so I want you, from the Friends of the Congo, to welcome to the platform right about now our sister Francine Mukwaya.
Mbote, jambo, bonjour or bonsoir, hi, greeting. My name is Francine Mukwaya. Francine is colonialist name anyway. My father gave me that for some reason. But I've got Sodi, which means power. My tribal language name, basically. So I speak French. I experienced war in Congo. I am a lecturer, young lecturer I live in Cambridge. Yeah, we getting there. Yeah, so I teach psychology and counseling and ethics in Cambridge. And I've been a human rights activist for 9 years now. I work with brother Bandaka Sly and Papa Bandaka countless time. I think I'm not gonna sort of repeating much. I'm just gonna be brief because Brother Sly already said it. I'm from Congo, and then I work in an organization that support the crisis, that are fighting for the crisis in Congo. But before I start to talk, I want you to think about why many leaders always talk about Congo. Congo is the only country in Africa with 9 neighbors. And it's the country is in the heart. When your heart is not functional anymore, they proclaim you a dead person. So Africa is dead because Congo is in crisis. My brothers, my sister, Congo, thank you. Congo has to be free for us, not just in Africa, but all black people around the world to be free. Why? Congo gives to the world 24 trillion per year. Why? While people say the poor race in the world is black, but we give 24 trillion. But just Congo. So if I go to Benin, I look at Togo, I look at Sierra Leone, Nigeria, add that. So it's so important for us to know, because if Congo is free and Congo is developed, it's going to affect, it's going to be like disease. It's going to affect the 9 neighbors. The 9 neighbors will be developed. Those 9 neighbors, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, Uganda, South Sudan, all the nice neighbors, they will be also, they have their own neighbors as well. So it's going to affect their neighbors to their neighbors. This is why Frank Fanon said, Congo, Africa is shaped like a gun, where the trigger is in Congo. Since colonialists, as Brother Schley said, they always hold Congo. Kwame Nkrumah, one of our fighters, he wrote a book. I don't know why a lot of people don't. Go to Amazon, it's in Amazon now. The struggling of Congo, that book, read it. This is one of the greatest leaders. He wrote that book about the Congo. So we need to read it. The crisis in Congo is global. We talk about Amazon, the biggest forest. I don't know if many of you know, I believe so, that the second biggest forest in the world is in Africa, precisely in Congo. So we are the second lung of the world, but we don't get a benefit from it. We don't. In Congo, there is Congo can light the entire Africa and the East Europe. But we live in dark. Why? We need to wake up. The organization I work, we support the crisis in Congo, and we also work alongside these doctors who've been treating Congolese women victims of rape, Dr. Denis Mukwege. So we support his work because, thank you. Because we believe that when woman is destabilized, the whole village is dead. Sorry. Oh, it's back, thank you. Sorry. It's so important for women to be fit. Because women, I'm not saying because I'm a woman, but this is facts. It's so important for women. Woman is the mother of the family. She's the one is kind of, when there's a struggle, she's the one to be like, oh, sorry, king, sorry, darling, if you want me to say it, call you by darling, but I like to call my man a king. I'm really sorry. So, because it is what it is. So it's so important. And in Congo, after King Leopold II, as Sly stated already, we're having another one. Every time there is a development or modern technology, Congo, black people, Africa has to pay the price. Precisely Congo. We all here in the room have Congo in our pocket. All of us here. But you know that 48 Congolese women has to be raped for you to get that. It shouldn't be that way. Dubai, they have oil. When the Western go to Dubai, they do deal properly, but when they come to Africa, it's differently. This is something we need to question. We need to start, we need to be moved. We need to be like, it doesn't make sense. It's so important. And then when you look at another strong warrior who we are gathered tonight is Brother Kemi. A lot of Brother Kemi's videos, some interviews, he talks about Congo because he knows the importance of it. Go and check. He talks about it a lot. And then how are we going to free Congo or Africa? We need to get rid of puppets. We have a lot of puppets. There's some people say, no, it's not like that. Oh, if I talk about this, I'm not going to be able to get a job. I am a lecturer. I live in Cambridge. I talk about this. That place is where the riches and all that, you know. But I talk about this. The world is changing, my brothers and my sisters. Wake up. We need to wake up. If we want to be free. Kemi Seba is example of it. He's risking. He's been listing in the name of USA, but he's here in the UK. USA is a willing partner with UK, isn't it? Just to tell you that the world is changing. The world is multipolar. It means, in economic, if you don't trade with me, I'm going to another part of the world. Economic have changed, my dear. It's true and it's fact. So we need to wake up, we need to get rid of puppets. And those puppets, for example, in the case of Congo, the main puppet in Great Lakes region is Kagame. When I see a lot of African who say Kagame is Pan-Africanist, my brothers and my sisters, if you say that, you are blind. Is one of the, for me personally, is King Leopold of II of this time. That's my argument. The difference between them, only the skin. But this man is doing practically exactly the same thing King Leopold, King Leopold was getting benefit. By him, they're using him. So we need to stop, we as a future generation precisely, we need to stop being used. Because Africa is not developed because we have puppets. I always say, that apart from people who invade us, we also are part of the problem. We are part of the problem as well. So we need to kind of wake up. You don't need to be manipulated. You don't need to. Kagame can come, okay, I want to develop Rwanda. I can trade with Congolese. Kagame doesn't have to come and kill. Millions of Congolese have lost their life to build Rwanda. And guess what? He has created a big conflict between the two countries' citizens. And that's what people want. That's what those multinationals want. They want to create conflict between two brothers, between Rwandese and Congolese. And he has succeeded. But think about he's not immortal. He's going to die. What about the future? So overall, I'm going to end here. We need to wake up. If you sing for Congo, for Africa. If you are a writer, write. If you care about women, about queens, you need to say something. You need to wake up. Read about Congo. Raise awareness. Stop being manipulated. If you care about environment, you need to say something about the issue in Congo as well. Because as I said, the second biggest forest, Amazon is burning. I'm not wishing that, but it's burning. But Congo forest is still, African forest is still there. So you need to say something as well, because a lot of Chinese are really cutting the tree, my brothers and my sisters in Congo. They're starting. So we are here, we pull, but people who go in Africa after 2, 3, 4 weeks, they're millionaire. So you need to wake up. We need to get rid of all these puppets. We need to wake up. We need to get rid of them. We don't need them. They are dead. They are there not for our interests. Their interests. So supporting Brother Kemi, that his job and everything he's doing is really important because he's risking his life, I'm telling you. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Brother.
Francine Mukwaya family. You are being hosted by the Black Star Action Network International, and we must let you know about some of the works that we are going to be engaging in this coming summer. And so we're going to take a moment to do that now. And to do so, I'm going to introduce you to our international vice president. She goes by the name of Nehanda Sankofa. Can you hail her, please?
BSANI, we have a Be Clean campaign. So I'm just going to give you a brief history of the Be Clean campaign. African countries, as well as other parts of the world. The Be Clean campaign is the largest international mobilization to date. No, I'm in the wrong space. Sorry. Right. The Be Clean campaign, mobilizing communities to combat the sanitization crisis. The Be Clean campaign is an international cleaning initiative that was launched in August 2017 by the Black Star Action Network International. The campaign seeks to address the growing sanitation crisis in many communities. As we know, we have the luxury of, well, our taxes are paying for the sewage system here, but we do not have that back home. So particularly during the rainy season, when garbage often clogs gutters and causes flooding, which can lead to the spread of waterborne diseases. BSANI was founded in response to the devastating floods and mudslides that claimed over 1,000 lives in Freetown, Sierra Leone in 2017. Since then, the organization has been mobilizing community cleanups and conducting hygiene sanitation workshops in various African countries as well as parts of the world. The Be Clean campaign's largest international mobilization to date was conducted last year, November the 12th, 2022, in collaboration with local grassroots community organizers and community groups in 21 cities across 3 continents. To name but a few, Gambia, Washington, D.C., New York, Lagos, Nigeria, Freetown, Sierra Leone, Detroit, Florida, London, San Diego, and Liberia, and California. The campaign seeks to work progressively with other local activists to engage in community-based cleanup initiatives as often as possible. I'm also part of AWIN, the African Women Empowerment Network, where as women we help within the continent to promote cleanliness with women. I'm not wording that properly, but in terms of sanitary products, also with health, food, and agriculture. To promote that, the Be Clean campaign is a holistic experience. The campaign's goal is to promote community cleanliness and combat the spread of waterborne diseases by removing tons of trash. Through community cleanups, the Be Clean campaign aims to help promote healthy and prosperous communities. BSANI invites interested community organizations to join their programs and collaborate in community-based cleanups. The organization urges all community stakeholders to join their efforts in promoting clean and healthy communities. In conclusion, the Be Clean campaign is a noble initiative that seeks to address the sanitation crisis that affects many communities worldwide. Interested individuals can visit the Be Clean website or can sign up with me at the table here on my right for the campaign that's going to be taking place in Birmingham. The Organization of Black Unity, they have a building called the Marcus Garvey Center based in Birmingham. They also have a nursery located in that center. So the Be Clean campaign has vowed to clean up the garden space and also plant fruits and vegetables so the children can learn agricultural development and within their education in the Marcus Garvey nursery. So we're encouraging the community to sign up, and we will get back to you with the dates of when it's going to happen in July. But we're encouraging you to come out and to be part of the community and also to find out other initiatives that will be taking place in London and also across the globe. Thank you, Tenamari.
Brothers and sisters, once again, if you want to be part of the Be Clean campaign, please show your interest by signing up at our front desk. It's very important that we get involved in our community. On another occasion, we'll tell you about our Tools to Seize agricultural program that is currently on stream in Sierra Leone and other programs, but today is not that day. We're going to introduce Brother Kemi Seba now. Before we do so, I want to let you know that today is the 30th anniversary since the murder of Brother Stephen Lawrence, yeah? So it's a very, very important date, anniversary in the history of Africans in the UK. So let us raise up his spirit this afternoon and send our love and blessings to his mother and his father, his brother and his sister, and all the other family members. And also let us remember Brother Dwayne Brooks, Stephen's best friend, who was with him and witnessed the brutal murder and had to run for his life. Dwayne Brooks is still alive today, yeah? And still suffers from the trauma. all right? And so it's this, the whole country is involved in commemorating 30th anniversary of Stephen Lawrence's murder. As African people, we have to know that our agenda in relation to that is very different from the British state agenda, all right? Very, very different. Before we move further, there are many organizations in the room. I can't call all of you, but I do want to hail up Sister Pat Lumumba in the building. Please, just let people know who you are. Yeah? Of the Uhuru movement. Just saluting. We are here, brothers and sisters, to hear from an international, revolutionary, Pan-African organizer. Every word that I just said is important. I said international, revolutionary, Pan-African organizer. You wouldn't be here right now if Brother Kemi was just known for speaking the good word. He is known for speaking the good word, and he does speak the good word. You are not just here because Brother Kemi is very good looking, and he is very good looking. He's a handsome black man. You are here because, as has been alluded to in our solidarity messages, that our brother has struck a match and ignited a fire that is sweeping through the African world right now. And not only are our people being politically educated, our people are being organized against the forces of neocolonialism. And when we see an African man, woman, or child who is prepared to sacrifice for us as African people, we have a duty to support that African. We have a duty to give that African our love. We have a duty to defend that African. And so with that, brothers and sisters, I bring to you the one and only Brother Kemi Seba.
Peace be upon to you. Alafia. Otep. And peace be upon all the police officers who tried to spy us today inside this room.
Une période, comme je le disais tout à l'heure, très, très particulière.
As I was saying earlier, this is a very particular period we're in.
Parce que nous vivons durant une guerre mondiale.
Because we're living through a world war.
Entre, comme je le disais tout à l'heure, l'Occident, l'impérialisme occidental et toutes les nations qui résistent à cet Occident.
Between the imperialist nation, Western imperialist nation, and all those who resisted.
Et de l'autre côté, une guerre à l'intérieur de la guerre entre le peuple noir et tous ceux qui veulent détruire notre peuple.
And on the other side, you have a war within the war between the black people and all those who want to destroy them.
Même parmi les nations qui résistent à l'impérialisme occidental, il y a encore un combat contre notre peuple.
And even amongst the nations that are resisting Western imperialism, there is again another war within them.
Quand nous allons à Cuba, nous voyons le racisme qui touche notre peuple.
When we go to Cuba, we see the racism that is affecting our people.
Quand nous allons en Russie, voir Poutine, nous voyons le racisme qui touche notre peuple.
When we go to Russia to see Putin, we see the racism that is affecting our people.
We need to say that today.
We need to say that today.
Yeah. Quand nous allons en Iran ou quand nous allons voir les mouvements révolutionnaires arabes, nous voyons le racisme qui touche notre peuple.
When we go to Iran or where we go to see the revolutionary movement that from the Asian or Arabic region, we see the racism that is affecting our people.
Donc nous devons dire la vérité qui est qu'en réalité notre peuple est contre le reste du monde.
So we have to tell the truth as it is, which is that our people are alone against the rest of the world.
Est-ce vrai ou est-ce faux ce que je dis? Est-ce vrai ou est-ce faux? This is right or wrong?
Is it true or false?
Comme je le disais tout à l'heure, période particulière parce que nous sommes passés de différentes phases d'oppression jusqu'à cette phase ultime qui est le globalisme.
As I was saying earlier, we are in a very particular time because we have gone from different stages of oppression to this ultimate stage, which is called globalism.
Il y a eu l'esclavage qui a été la première forme d'oppression que nous avons connue.
We started with slavery, which was the first type of oppression that we lived.
Nous avons connu le colonialisme.
And then we move on to colonialism.
Nous avons connu le néocolonialisme.
And then we move on to neocolonialism.
Et nous connaissons maintenant l'ultime forme de la prédation capitaliste qu'est le néolibéralisme sur le terrain économique et sociétal.
And we are now facing the ultimate shape, the ultimate manifestation of this oppression, which is neoliberalism and in the economic sector.
Le capitalisme est la matrice de l'esclavage.
Capitalism is like the matrix, the mother of slavery.
Nous ne pouvons comprendre l'esclavage et l'oppression qui touchent notre peuple si nous n'analysons pas le néolibéralisme et le capitalisme dans ses profondeurs.
You cannot understand the oppression of our people without, first of all, understanding neoliberalism and capitalism in their depth.
Le capitalisme a gagné, s'est développé jusqu'à sa pire forme de l'histoire.
Capitalism won and grew into its worst and ultimate shape in the history of mankind.
Un monstre à deux têtes. Le néolibéralisme sur le terrain économique, qui est le capitalisme le plus sauvage.
Neoliberalism on one hand, which is the monster that is looking on the economical aspect.
Et un néolibéralisme sur le terrain sociétal qui est en train de modeler la société et nous pousser à nous éloigner de nos racines, de notre identité, de nos traditions.
And on a social ground, a neoliberalism that is reshaping society and forcing us to move away from our identity and our traditions.
Un néolibéralisme sociétal qui dit à l'homme noir qu'il n'est plus un homme.
A neoliberalism that's telling black people that we are no longer humans.
Je ne sais pas ce que j'ai dit. I understand English better than what you think. Un néolibéralisme qui dit à l'homme noir qu'il n'est plus un homme, qui peut être une femme. Un néolibéralisme qui dit à la femme noire qu'elle n'est plus simplement une femme, qu'elle peut être un homme. I will verify.
A neoliberalism that is telling the black man that you are no longer a man, that you can be a woman. A neoliberalism that is telling a black woman that you are no longer just a woman, that you can be a man.
Et ils vous disent que cette vision du monde, c'est le progrès.
And they are telling you that this vision of the world is progress.
Mais il faut qu'ils sachent que le progrès de l'homme blanc peut être la dégénérescence pour le peuple noir.
But we need to know that what is progress for the white man could be degradation for the black man.
Mais lorsque l'on étudie en profondeur l'histoire de nos peuples respectifs,
But when we study in more depth the history of our respective people,
nous comprenons de manière très logique que le progrès pour les uns n'est pas forcément un progrès pour les autres.
we understand very quickly and logically that the progress of some may not be progress for the others.
Pour le peuple originel que nous sommes, le progrès nous lie à nos ancêtres.
For the original people that we are, our progress links us to our ancestors.
Pour notre peuple, le progrès, c'est se rapprocher de la loi originelle de notre peuple que pratiquaient nos ancêtres.
For our people, our progress is to get closer to the original laws of our ancestors that bring us closer to our culture.
Mais pour l'Occident, le progrès, c'est tout ce qui les éloigne du commencement de la vie.
But for the West, progress is everything that pushes them further away from the beginning of life.
Parce que le commencement pour le peuple noir n'est pas le même commencement pour le peuple blanc.
Because the beginning or the essence for the black people is not the same as it is for white people.
Nous avons commencé dans un endroit où tout nous était favorable, où la nature, l'environnement, nous étions en harmonie avec.
We have started in a place where everything was favorable. Our environment, our nature was all favorable to us.
Nous étions dans un paradis terrestre.
We are in a earthly paradise, if I can say so.
Give applause for him for the translation. Mais le peuple blanc, Caucasian people, I help you.
But Caucasian people
sont apparus et ont évolué dans un environnement différent.
have appeared and evolved in a very different environment,
Un environnement hostile,
a hostile environment,
où ils étaient obligés de se manger les uns et les autres,
where they were forced to eat one another,
de manger leurs excréments.
to eat their excrement.
Yeah! Yeah! C'était la loi survivre.
It was,
Être prêt à tout pour survivre.
it was survival of the fittest. We have to be ready for everything to survive.
Toutes leurs émissions, Survivor, toutes ces choses-là, là, c'est la biographie de leur peuple.
All these TV reality shows that you see, Survivor and so on, is the biography of their people.
Est-ce vrai ou est-ce faux ce que je dis?
Is it true or not?
Et parce qu'ils ont connu souffrance, douleur au commencement,
And because they've been through suffering and pain from the beginning,
ils ne veulent pas se souvenir de ce commencement.
they do not want to remember that beginning.
Et donc ils estiment que tout ce qui est près du commencement, c'est l'enfer et c'est la barbarie.
And so they view everything that is close to that beginning as hell and barbaric.
Mais leur commencement n'est pas le nôtre.
But their beginning is not ours.
Et c'est pour ça que quand nous parlons du progrès, leur progrès c'est s'éloigner du commencement et nous notre progrès c'est revenir au commencement.
And that is why there is this contradiction when we're talking about progress, because their progress is to go away from the beginning and our progress is to return to the beginning.
Ils se moquent de notre rapport à la nature.
They are laughing about our relationship with nature.
Ils se moquent de notre rapport à l'environnement.
They don't care about our relationship with the environment.
Lorsque nous embrassons les plantes, nous embrassons les arbres, ils se moquent de notre rapport aux arbres, aux plantes.
When we embrace nature, when we embrace our trees and so forth, they are laughing. They don't care about our relationship to our trees.
Mais lorsqu'il y a eu le Covid et qu'eux étaient tous en train de tomber comme des feuilles, ils étaient bien contents de nous voir, nous, ou ils étaient très tristes de nous voir, nous, debout, être capables de nous soigner avec les plantes.
But when COVID came and they were falling like dead leaves, they were not happy to see us standing and being able to heal ourselves with our trees.
La crise du Covid leur a rappelé
The COVID crisis reminded them
que le vrai médicament, c'est la nature, c'est l'environnement.
that the true medicine, the true cure is nature and environment.
Et que les vrais scientifiques sont ceux qui connaissent la nature et qui connaissent l'environnement.
And that the true scientists are those who understand nature and who know the environment.
Et donc ceux qu'ils appellent sauvages sont en réalité les vrais scientifiques et ceux qu'ils appellent scientifiques sont en réalité les vrais sauvages.
And so those that they call savages are in reality the true scientists, and those that they call scientists are the true savages.
Yeah. Yeah. Ils se moquent de tous les peuples à la peau sombre.
They are laughing at all people who have darker skins.
Ils se moquent de nos lois traditionnelles.
They are laughing at our laws and traditions.
Pour eux, tout ce qui est nouveau est bon, tout ce qui est ancien est mauvais.
For them, everything that is new is good, everything that is ancient is bad.
Ils pensent que le progrès, c'est tout ce qui a trait à l'accumulation de biens matériels.
They think that progress is all about acquiring material goods.
Et tout ce qui a trait à l'immatériel, ils nous prennent pour des sauvages lorsque nous vouons un respect profond à l'immatériel.
And everything that is spiritual or immaterial, they're laughing at it, and they're laughing at us for worshipping or giving importance to the spiritual or the immaterial.
Parce qu'à leur commencement, ce qui comptait pour eux, puisqu'ils n'avaient rien, ils n'avaient qu'en faire, c'était le rapport au matériel.
Because in their beginning, what was important for them was a relationship to what is physical and material, because they had nothing else.
Mais nous, parce que nous avions tout le confort matériel, notre obsession était de nouer un lien profond avec l'immatériel.
But we, because we were blessed and at every comfort, material comfort and physical comfort, we are obsessed with getting a deeper connection with the spiritual.
This is right or wrong?
Is this right or wrong?
Et c'est pour cette raison qu'aujourd'hui encore, nos peuples sont profondément spirituels.
And it's for that reason that up to this day, our people are deeply spiritual.
Alors que leur peuple est profondément incarcéré dans le matérialisme.
Whereas their people are deeply enrooted in materialism.
Leur règle, c'est celui qui est riche sur les biens matériels.
Their dream is to become wealthy on material goods.
Ils ne respectent que ceux qui ont des biens matériels.
They only respect those who are wealthy on material goods.
Et malheureusement, certains des nôtres ont fini par suivre cette façon de voir le monde.
And sadly, many of us have bought into that dream and have followed that way of thinking.
Nous croyons que la vie, c'est être riche en fonction de leur système matérialiste.
We think that to succeed, you have to be rich according to their way of viewing, of their materialist system.
Et nous nous éloignons du vrai monde qui est en réalité le monde immatériel.
And we're going away from the true world, which is in reality the untouchable world, the spiritual world.
That's a good translation. I trust you. Applause him again, please. Si je précise tous ces éléments,
if I'm being very specific with all these elements,
c'est parce qu'on ne peut comprendre la guerre qui se joue aujourd'hui sans comprendre les soubassements de cette guerre.
It's because you cannot understand today's conflict without understanding the key elements that are driving those two conflicts.
Il y a la scène et il y a le metteur en scène.
There is the scene and there is the metteur en scène, who's the person who stays up the stages.
La scène, c'est là où nous sommes aujourd'hui dans cette salle.
The scene is where we are.
Et le metteur en scène, les metteurs en scène, c'est le gouvernement métaphysique du Créateur que sont nos ancêtres.
And the backstage is the people that have put the scene forward, which are our ancestors.
Who work for Dieu Tout-Puissant.
Who worked for the God Almighty.
Important to understand that.
It's important to understand that.
Je sais que dans cette salle, il y a des gens de toute religion.
I know that in this room we have people of all different religious beliefs.
Il y a des traditionalistes.
There's traditionalists.
Il y a des chrétiens.
There are Christians.
Il y a des musulmans.
There are Muslims.
Et notre message est un message de fraternité pour nous tous ici présents.
And our message is a message of fraternity, of brotherhood for all of us here present.
Parce que comme nous l'expliquons dans ce livre Philosophie de la Pan-Africanité fondamentale,
as we explain in this book, The Philosophy of Fundamental Pan-Africanity,
quelles que soient nos différences en apparence,
whatever is our difference in appearance,
nous sommes confrontés en réalité au même problème.
In reality, we all confronted to the same issues.
Et nous sommes en réalité liés au même gouvernement métaphysique.
And in truth, we are all linked to the same spiritual government.
Certains vont les appeler les anges.
Some of them are going to call them angels.
Certains vont les appeler les ancêtres.
Others are going to call them ancestors.
Certains vont les appeler les Netcherou.
Others are going to call them Netcherou.
Certains vont les appeler les vaudous.
Others are going to call them voodoo.
Certains vont les appeler les orishas.
Others are going to call them orikas.
Mais en réalité, nous parlons des mêmes entités.
But
Qui
in
sont
truth,
le gouvernement métaphysique du Créateur.
But in truth, we are speaking about the same entity, the same metaphysical entity who governs.
Et il est très important, si l'on veut comprendre cette guerre, d'être connecté avec ce gouvernement métaphysique-là.
And it is very important, if you want to understand this conflict, to be in touch and connected to the metaphysical world.
Parce que l'Occident qui nous combat et tous les autres peuples de la Terre,
Because the West that is fighting us, as well as all the other nations of the earth,
au sein de leur oligarchie,
within their oligarchy,
you are a very good translator. Yeah. Ils ont eux aussi un rapport à l'invisible,
they also have a relationship with the metaphysical, with the invisible,
mais dans son côté sombre,
but in the dark side of it,
avec ce qu'on appelle la franc-maçonnerie,
with what we call the Freemasons,
qui a un rôle capital dans la propagation de l'impérialisme et du globalisme.
that played a key role in propagating imperialism.
Avant cette histoire de blanc mauvais ou de noir bon ou de blanc bon et de noir, certains noirs qui sont mauvais, nous devons comprendre le monde dans lequel nous vivons.
Before the story of white bad and black good, or white or black evil and white good, we have to understand
Le monde véritable dans lequel nous vivons.
the true world in which we are living.
Un monde très complexe.
A very complex world.
Revenons aux années 90.
Let's go back to the 90s.
Comme je le disais tout à l'heure, il y avait une guerre donc entre le capitalisme et le communisme.
As I said earlier, there was a war between capitalism and communism.
Le communisme a perdu.
The communism lost.
Ces deux idéologies avaient un point commun.
Those two ideologies had a common point.
Elles ne tenaient pas compte de la réalité immatérielle.
They didn't consider the metaphysical reality.
Beaucoup de Noirs ont adhéré au communisme
Many blacks have adhered or followed communism
parce qu'il y avait des points communs avec, avec le solidarisme qui existait dans nos villages et dans nos populations.
because he had common point with African solidarity that exists within our villages and our cultures.
Mais il y avait une déconnexion sur certains points entre le communisme et notre peuple parce que le communisme ne tenait pas compte de la réalité immatérielle.
But there was a disconnect between communism and our culture because communism did not take in consideration the immaterial reality, the metaphysical reality.
Et la plus puissante idéologie immatérielle a gagné, en l'occurrence le capitalisme.
And in that battle, the most powerful ideology, metaphysical ideology has won. And
La plus puissante idéologie matérialiste a gagné.
okay, the most powerful materialist ideology has won, which was capitalism.
Et celle-ci a conquis le monde.
And that conquered the world.
Notre peuple, même en Afrique ou dans les Caraïbes, a été corrompu par cette idéologie.
Our people around the world, in Africa and even in the Caribbean, have been conquered by the ideology.
Connaissez-vous des gens qui ne sont pas du tout dans le capitalisme aujourd'hui?
Do you know anybody who's not at all within capitalism today?
Une minorité.
There's a minority.
La réalité est que la plupart d'entre nous, même nous qui dénonçons le capitalisme, il y a toujours une part de capitalisme, même minime, dans nos actions.
The truth is that the most of us, even those of us who denounce capitalism, there is always an aspect of capitalism found in our actions.
Nous devons être capables, si nous voulons lutter contre un système, de faire notre autocritique.
We have to be, if we want to beat the system, we have to be capable of being able to self-criticize ourselves.
C'est pour cette raison que je vends le livre à 20 €, c'est du capitalisme.
For that reason, I'm selling the book at 20 euros. It's capitalism.
And you will buy it, for sure.
And you will buy.
With love, always. Ce capitalisme a conquis le monde,
That capitalism has conquered the world.
mais sur certains aspects a heurté une partie de la population.
But in some places, it hurt some of the population that it touched.
Il l'a conquis économiquement,
He conquered the world economically.
mais sur le terrain sociétal, il a heurté beaucoup de populations.
But on a social aspect, it did hurt a lot of populations.
Quand Barack Obama, la marionnette noire de la Maison Blanche,
When Barack Obama, the black puppet of the White House,
quand il a voyagé un peu partout dans le monde,
when he traveled everywhere around the world,
à chaque fois, il demandait aux dirigeants des pays, des peuples sombres,
each time he asked the leaders of the people of darker skin colors,
il disait, si vous voulez être moderne, vous devez vous adapter à l'agenda du néolibéralisme.
He was telling them that if they wanted to be modern people, they had to adapt to the agenda of neoliberalism.
Vous devez accepter les lois sur les transgenres.
You must accept laws on transgenders.
Vous devez accepter le mariage gay.
You have to agree with gay marriage.
Yeah. Nous devons être clairs dessus.
We have to be clear on that point.
Dans notre ontologie, nous ne haïssons personne.
In our
Ontology.
ontology, we do not hate anybody.
We hate nobody.
We hate
Le rôle du diable est de transformer le bon en mal et le mal en bon.
The role of the devil is to transform good in evil and evil in good.
De détruire la famille.
To destroy the family.
De détruire votre foi en l'immatériel.
To destroy your faith in the spiritual.
De détruire votre amour entre hommes et femmes.
To destroy your love between man and woman.
De détruire votre lien avec la nature.
To destroy your link with nature.
De faire croire à la femme noire qu'elle n'a pas besoin de l'homme noir.
To make the black woman believe that she doesn't need the black man.
Et certains frères participent à ça.
And some brothers are part of this.
Yeah. Et de faire croire à l'homme noir que la plus belle femme n'est pas la femme noire, mais toutes les autres femmes de la terre.
And to make the black man believe that the most beautiful woman is not the black woman, but any other woman on earth.
Et d'ailleurs, l'un des plus puissants instruments de ce globalisme,
And one of the most powerful tools of that globalism,
par exemple,
for example,
Netflix.
Netflix.
Quand vous étudiez Netflix, tout est fait pour faire croire à la femme noire ou à la femme des autres, des peaux sombres, des autres peuples en tout cas, qu'elle peut se débrouiller seule, qu'elle n'a pas besoin de son semblable.
When you watch Netflix, everything is done to tell the black woman or melanated woman that she can do everything without a black man.
Right or wrong? Et de la même façon, on encourage l'homme noir à aller avec toutes les autres femmes que les femmes noires.
And in the same way, they encourage black people to go with every other woman but the black woman.
La véritable guerre mondiale se situe là.
The true war is there. The true world war is there.
Changer la direction naturelle du peuple originel.
To change the natural direction of the original people.
Et vous remarquerez qu'ils se servent toujours des noirs pour promouvoir leur agenda.
And you will notice that they always use black people to promote their agenda.
Pour détruire la famille, ils se servent d'hommes noirs qu'ils vont mettre avec des autres hommes d'autres couleurs.
To destroy the family, they will use a black man that they will put with other men of other colors.
Ou des femmes noires avec d'autres femmes d'autres couleurs.
Or black women with other women of other colors.
Nous devons être clairs sur une chose dans ce que je dis là.
We have to be clear on one thing about what I said.
Il y a des noirs qui étaient gays et qui ont participé à la lutte pour notre peuple.
There were black people that were gay that participated to the liberation of our people.
James Baldwin, pour exemple.
James Baldwin, for example.
Please applaud him strongly. Yeah. Notre critique n'est pas une critique des individus.
Our criticism is not a criticism of individuals.
Ce n'est pas une critique du comportement individuel des gens.
It's not a criticism of the individual behavior of people.
Mais c'est les critiques de l'ingénierie sociale de l'oligarchie blanche.
But it's a criticism of social engineering by white oligarchy.
Parce qu'ils veulent détourner notre peuple de son destin naturel.
Because they want to deviate our people from its natural destination.
Vous ne remarquez pas qu'ils disent que les Noirs font trop d'enfants?
Don't you hear them saying things like black people have too many kids?
Parce qu'ils veulent moins vous voir et plus bénéficier de vos richesses.
Because they want to see less of you to profit more of your wealth.
Donc si notre population diminue, ça sera bon pour eux.
So if our population is reduced, it will be good for them.
Vous comprenez ce que je veux dire?
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Et donc, si nous ne sommes plus capables de fonder des familles,
so if we are no longer able to build families,
il y aura moins de Noirs sur Terre.
There'll be less black people on earth.
Et s'il y a moins de Noirs sur Terre,
and if there are less black people on earth,
il y aura plus de place pour voler nos ressources minières.
There'll be more room to be able to steal our mineral wealth.
Donc nous devons réfléchir à tout ce qui est fait pour nous désorienter.
So we have to think carefully about everything that has been put in place to deviate us from our goals.
Le globalisme vous fait croire que vous n'êtes pas les citoyens de quelque part, mais que vous êtes les citoyens du monde. Le globalisme vous fait croire que vous n'êtes pas des citoyens issus d'un peuple précis, mais que vous êtes des citoyens du monde.
Globalism wants you to believe that you are not a citizen of a specific place, but you are world citizen.
Le globalisme veut vous déraciner.
The globalism wants to uproot you.
Le globalisme veut que vous vous disiez que vous êtes des Noirs anglais, que vous êtes des Anglais, que vous êtes des Français, etc.
Globalism wants you to think that you are black, but you are French, you are English, etc.
Il veut faire comme le Premier ministre anglais qui ne se souvient plus d'où il vient. You don't want to have problems, so I will speak in English now.
No, I just laugh.
Like Richie Sunak, who thinks he is English, but when we see his head and his face, we know that he comes from far away.
And
Right
he doesn't
or wrong?
remember where he came from.
No problem, you will not have problem with the police here. I take everything from me. Yeah. Ils veulent qu'il y ait de plus en plus de gens comme Barack Obama ou Richie Sunak.
They want more and more people like Barack Obama or Rishi Sunak.
Des gens issus du peuple premier, mais qui se battent contre leur propre peuple.
The people that come from the original people, but that fight for the interests of other people.
Yeah. Ils ne veulent pas de personnes comme Marcus Garvey.
They do not want people like Marcus Garvey.
Ils ne veulent pas de personnes comme Winnie Mandela.
They do not want people like Willie Mandela.
Ils ne veulent pas des personnes comme le docteur Khalid Mohammed.
They do not want people like Dr. Khalid Muhammad.
Ils ne veulent pas des personnes comme vous tous ici présents.
They do not want people like every one of you here in this room.
Lorsque l'on parle de panafricanité fondamentale,
When you talk about fundamental Pan-Africanism,
nous ne parlons pas simplement de panafricanisme sur le terrain matériel.
we're not just talking about Pan-Africanism in a material sense of things.
On ne parle pas de panafricanisme uniquement l'unité des diasporas.
We're not just talking about Pan-Africanism in the unity of the diaspora.
Mais nous parlons du panafricanisme dans sa fondation, dans sa racine, dans l'unité du peuple noir partout dans le monde et l'unité avec ses ancêtres.
But we're talking about Pan-Africanism in its foundation, in its root, in the unity of the people, the black people everywhere around the world, but also with the spiritual.
On nous a fait croire, et la force du colon, ça a été de nous faire croire que le peuple noir n'était que le peuple en Afrique.
They made us believe, and that is the strength of colonizers, they made us believe that the black people were just the people in Africa.
Ils ont voulu vous faire croire que les Noirs en Australie n'étaient pas notre peuple.
They wanted to make us believe that the black people in Australia were not our people.
Ils ont voulu nous faire croire que les Noirs en Asie n'étaient pas notre peuple.
They wanted us to believe that the black people in Asia are not our people.
Ils ont voulu nous faire croire que les Noirs au Moyen-Orient n'étaient pas notre peuple.
They wanted us to believe that the black people in the Middle East were not our people.
Ils ont voulu nous faire croire que les Dravidiens n'étaient pas notre peuple en Inde.
They wanted us to believe that the Dravidians were not our people in India.
Parce que quand ils divisent notre peuple de cette façon, ils nous font croire que nous sommes des minorités, alors que quand on s'additionne nous tous, nous sommes la majorité.
Because by dividing our people, they make us believe that we are a minority. But when you add us all up, we realize that we are the majority.
La panafricanité fondamentale, ce n'est pas uniquement l'unité des Noirs du continent africain et des Caraïbes ou d'Amérique. Applause him strongly. Go ahead.
Foundational Pan-Africanism is not just the unity of people, of black people in Africa and the Caribbean.
Good, yeah, good. On continue. La panafricanité fondamentale, c'est l'unité de notre peuple sur le continent, mais le continent africain, avec tous les peuples noirs de la terre.
The foundation, Pan-Africanism, foundation Pan-Africanism is the unity of black people with the black people in Africa, but also all around the world.
Parce que quand vous étudiez la situation que notre peuple connaît, par exemple, en Australie, les aborigènes d'Australie,
Because when you look at the situation that our people are living at the moment, for example, in Australia, with the Australian Aborigines,
le suprémacisme blanc les attaque de la même façon qu'il nous attaque, nous tous, dans le monde.
the white systematic racism is attacking them in the same way as it attacks us everywhere around the world.
Quand vous étudiez la manière dont les Dravidiens, ce qu'on appelle les intouchables, sont discriminés et opprimés en Inde, c'est la même façon dont notre peuple est opprimé aux autres endroits du monde.
When you're looking at the way in which the Dravidian, those that told the untouchable in India are treated, it's the same way in which we are treated or oppressed all around the world.
Quand vous étudiez la manière dont notre peuple, par exemple au Maroc, les Gnawa peuvent parfois être discriminés par les autres, vous vous rendez compte qu'ils sont confrontés aux mêmes problèmes aussi.
When you study the situation in Morocco, where, for example, the Gnawa are discriminated against the other people, you understand that it is the same strategy, the same system that is oppressing us around the world.
Le système de la suprématie blanche contre le peuple noir originel.
The system of white supremacy against the original black people.
Et si nous sommes confrontés aux mêmes problèmes, nous devons trouver des solutions communes.
And if we are confronted to the same problem, then we have to find a common solution.
Nous devons comprendre que nous sommes la majorité sur cette terre.
We have to understand that we are the majority on this earth.
Que l'Européen est une minorité sur cette terre.
That the European is a minority on this earth.
Pas simplement une minorité, mais ce sont en plus nos enfants parce qu'ils sont venus longtemps après nous.
Not only are they a minority, but they are our children because they come many years late after us.
1,000 years later after us.
Later us after us.
We are their father and mother. We are their parents. And each children need to respect their parents. Nous ne combattons pas contre le racisme.
We are not fighting against racism.
Nous combattons pour que les enfants respectent leurs parents.
We're fighting so that children can respect their parents.
Et c'est ce que nous devons rappeler aux gens.
And that is why we need to remind people.
Racisme, antiracisme, je m'en fous de ça.
Racism or anti-racism, I don't care about that.
C'est de l'infantilisation.
It is a infantilization of the argument.
C'est une question de respect des aînés de cette terre.
It's about respect of the elders.
Partout dans le monde, ils disent les peuples primitifs quand ils parlent de nos peuples.
Everywhere in the world, they use the term primitive people when they talk about our people.
Mais dans primitif, il y a premier.
But in primitive, there is prime.
Et s'il y a premier, ceux qui sont les premiers sont ceux qui ont été créés les premiers par Dieu.
And if they are prime, if we are first, it's because we are the first people created by God.
Et la première création de Dieu était la meilleure création.
And the first creation of God was his best one.
Donc les enfants doivent respecter leurs parents.
So the children must respect their parents.
Do you understand what I tried to explain? Yeah. Mais dans le même temps, nous devons être très stratégiques.
But at the same time, we have to be very strategic.
L'Occident nous a appris le diviser pour régner.
The West has taught us to divide and conquer.
Et nous voyons aujourd'hui qu'à l'intérieur des peuples caucasiens, il y a une guerre mondiale.
And we see that today, within Caucasian people, there is a world war.
Une guerre entre l'Ouest,
A war between the West
et la Russie et les autres peuples.
and Russia and the other nations.
Ne soyons pas hypocrites, aucun d'entre eux n'aime les Noirs.
Let's not be hypocritical. None of them like black people.
Aucun d'entre eux n'aime les Noirs.
None of them love black people.
Tous sont négrophobes.
All of them hate us. Then,
Mais lorsque deux camps adverses s'attaquent, c'est bon pour nous.
but when two opposite sides are fighting, it is good for us.
Yeah. Aujourd'hui, Poutine, même s'il n'aime pas les Noirs, son combat est profitable pour nous.
Today,
Bénéfique.
Putin, even if he doesn't like people,
Black
even if he
people.
doesn't like black people, his fight is beneficial to us.
D'ailleurs, je ne suis pas sûr que Poutine n'aime pas les Noirs. Ça, c'est encore un autre sujet.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that Putin doesn't like black people. That's another topic.
Mais je sais qu'à l'intérieur de la Russie, les Noirs sont détestés par beaucoup de gens.
But I know that within Russia, black people are hated by many.
Mais quand la Russie dérange l'Occident, c'est bon pour nous.
But when Russia is attacking the West, it is good for us.
Quand l'Iran et le Hezbollah dérangent l'Occident, c'est bon pour nous.
When Iran and the Hezbollah is attacking the West, it's good for us.
La situation est que notre peuple doit arrêter de croire que ces gens-là sont des messies pour nous.
The situation is that our people need to stop believing that those peoples are messiahs for us.
Ils ne seront jamais nos messies.
They will never be our messiahs.
Mais nous devons nous servir de la manière dont ils dérangent les autres pour contribuer à encore plus nous libérer.
But we have to use the opportunity of when they're attacking the others so that we can free ourselves even more.
Quand je vois parce que notre ONG, je vous demande de les applaudir, ils sont tous autour de cette pièce, Urgence Pan-Africaniste.
When I see our NGO, I would like you to give them a hand of applause because they're all part of Urgence Pan-Africanism.
Levez la main, les membres d'Urgence Pan-Africaniste, je veux qu'on vous voit, n'ayez pas peur. Levez la main.
Raise your hands.
Levez la
If you're a member
main.
of
Levez
Urgence
la main.
Pan-Africanism.
Lève la main. Ces personnes risquent leur vie au quotidien. Ces personnes risquent leur vie au quotidien.
Those people are risking their life on a daily basis.
Des frères et des sœurs de toute origine
Brothers
noire,
and sisters of all origin of black people, of melanated
de
people,
toute dimension religieuse,
of all religious spheres,
de toute classe sociale,
of all social classes,
mais avec un seul objectif,
with one single objective,
libérer notre peuple.
to free our people.
Notre organisation a mené et mène, en tout cas organise un certain nombre de mobilisations partout en Afrique et un peu partout dans la diaspora.
Our organization has contributed and does still organize many mobilizations in Africa and in the diaspora
Contre le néocolonialisme,
against the neocolonialism,
contre le globalisme.
against globalism.
Et parfois, dans nos manifestations, certains viennent avec des drapeaux russes.
And often, sometime in our manifestation, people come with Russian flags
Parce qu'ils ont entendu dire que nous menons des alliances géostratégiques avec la Russie, avec l'Iran, avec Cuba, etc.
because they heard that we have geostrategical alliance with Russia, with Cuba, and with
Iran.
Iran.
Mais nous disons à ces petits frères qui parfois viennent ou parfois pensent que brandir un drapeau russe, c'est offenser l'Occident.
And we want to say a word to our brothers, younger brothers and sisters that often think that waving a Russian flag is offending the West.
À chaque fois que vous brandissez un drapeau autre que le drapeau rouge, noir, vert, vous vous humiliez.
Every time you wave a flag that other than the black, red, and black, red, and green, you are embarrassing yourself.
Parce que les Russes, quand ils luttent contre les États-Unis, ils ne prennent pas le drapeau rouge, noir, vert.
Because when the Russians are fighting against the America, they are not waving the black, green, and red flag.
Ils utilisent le drapeau russe.
They're using the Russian flag.
Et de la même façon, nous devons apprendre qu'aucun peuple sur cette terre ne libérera les Noirs plus que les Noirs doivent se libérer eux-mêmes.
And in the same way, we need to learn that no other nation on this earth will free the black people the way we will free ourselves.
Dire cela n'empêche pas qu'il faut être intelligent sur le terrain géostratégique.
To say that doesn't mean that it doesn't prevent us from being smart on the strategical side.
Et comprendre que, comme le disait Nelson Mandela et surtout Winnie Mandela, l'ennemi de mon ennemi peut être ponctuellement mon ami.
And to understand, as was saying Mandela,
Yeah, Winnie Mandela.
to understand, as was saying Willie Mandela, that sometimes the enemy of my enemy can be my friend, can be my ally.
Quand Kadhafi soutenait l'ANC,
When Gaddafi was supporting the ANC,
ANC, hein, c'est ça, hein?
ANC,
Oh yeah. Cela dérangeait l'Occident.
that disturbed the West.
Ça ne veut pas dire que Kadhafi était parfait dans tout ce qu'il faisait.
It doesn't mean that Gaddafi was perfect in everything that he was doing,
Mais Kadhafi avait compris beaucoup plus de choses sur le terrain de la lutte contre l'Occident que beaucoup de dirigeants africains.
but Gaddafi had a better understanding on the struggle against the West than many African leaders.
De la même façon que des gens comme le président d'Iran, ou des gens du Hezbollah, ou des gens comme Poutine, ont compris beaucoup de choses dans la lutte contre l'Occident.
In the same way as the president of Iran or the leader of the Hezbollah or Putin have understood many things about the struggle against the West.
Et être capable de se connecter stratégiquement avec eux, tant que nous sommes capables de garder notre indépendance d'esprit, peut être un chemin.
And to be able to connect strategically with them, as long as we are able to keep our integrity and our independence spiritually, can be good.
Malcolm X disait, les Blancs peuvent nous aider, mais ils ne peuvent pas nous rejoindre.
As Malcolm X once said, white people can help us, but they cannot rejoin us.
On peut nous supporter sur le terrain logistique et financier.
They can support us in the logistic and financial side,
Mais ils ne peuvent pas être dans notre organisation et nous dire ce que nous devons faire.
but they cannot be part of our organization and tell us what to do.
C'est très important de se rappeler cette réalité.
It is important to remember that key aspect.
La question qu'il faut se poser, c'est pourquoi certains pays aujourd'hui résistent à l'Occident.
The question we have to ask ourselves is why is it that certain nations today resist to the West?
Parce que ce néolibéralisme sociétal dont nous parlions tout à l'heure,
Because this social neoliberalism we mentioned earlier,
cette destruction de la tradition, cette destruction de la famille, cette destruction de la spiritualité ne dérange pas que notre peuple, ça dérange beaucoup de peuples sur cette terre.
this destruction of society, of religion, of family, does not just annoy us, but it also annoys many other societies around the world.
Et nous devons profiter de cette période particulière
And we have to make the most of this particular period
pour encore mieux nous organiser.
to organize ourselves even better.
Certains se disent que non, le combat doit être uniquement de parler entre nous, de nous lier entre nous, etc.
Some believe that the struggle should only be about us talking amongst us, creating relationship amongst ourselves.
Mais la panafricanité fondamentale, c'est aussi être capable de comprendre l'importance de la géostratégie.
But fundamental Pan-Africanism is also to be able to understand the importance of geostrategic strategies.
Si Laurent Gbagbo, l'ancien président de Côte d'Ivoire,
If Laurent Gbagbo, the former president of Ivory Coast,
avait eu les connexions géopolitiques suffisantes pour s'allier à la fois à des pays en Amérique du Sud, à la Russie et à d'autres, il n'aurait pas fini à la haie.
had the wisdom to build geopolitical connection with countries in South
En Amérique
America,
du Sud, en Iran, en
Iran,
Russie,
and
la
Russia,
Chine.
he wouldn't be where he finished in jail.
Si Kadhafi s'était allié aux pays que je viens de citer, il n'aurait pas fini assassiné.
If Gaddafi had built those strong relationships with those nations, he would have not finished being murdered.
Et ça me fait penser à un épisode historique de nos ancêtres.
And you make me think of a historical page of the history of our ancestors.
Levez la main ceux qui connaissent l'histoire d'Osiris et de Seth.
Raise your hand if you know the story of Osiris and Seth.
Raise your
Osiris
hand.
and Seth.
Dans les récits traditionnels africains,
In African traditional tales,
il y a deux frères qui sont très connus de ces récits traditionnels.
there are two brothers that are very well known of those African tales.
Osiris,
Osiris
et Seth, son frère Seth.
and his brother Seth.
Osiris est considéré comme le Christ originel,
Osiris is considered as the original Christ
parce qu'il est le premier à découvrir la vie après la mort,
because he's the first one to discover life after death
par la seule et unique volonté de Dieu l'unique.
by the only and sole wish of God the Almighty.
Ok? Et il a été tué par son frère Seth,
And he was killed by his brother Seth,
qui était jaloux et qui était hostile vis-à-vis de lui.
and was jealous and hostile toward him.
Mais même Seth, qui est pourtant le meurtrier de son frère,
And even Seth, who is the murderer of his brother,
s'allie à tous les autres ancêtres
is
pour défendre les intérêts de Dieu contre le mal ultime, qui est le serpent cosmique que l'on appelle Apep en Afrique.
even Seth, who killed his brother, he's aligned with all his other brothers to protect God against the ultimate evil, which is the serpent Seth.
Non, serpent, Apep, Apophis,
Serpent Apep, Apophis,
who is the ultimate evil.
who is the ultimate.
Pourquoi je vous parle de cet exemple-là?
Why am I mentioning this example to you?
Parce que ma parabole est de dire que parfois il y a des mal nécessaires et des mal absolus.
Because sometimes there are what we call necessary evil and there is absolute evil.
Il y a certaines entités qui sont là pour nous pousser à nous dépasser sans qu'elles le sachent elles-mêmes.
There are certain entities that are there to push us to go beyond our limits without us even knowing it.
Je vais vous surprendre, mais je remercie le Créateur Tout-Puissant d'avoir connu le racisme.
I'm going to surprise you, but I thank the Almighty to have experienced racism.
Parce que le racisme a fait de moi ce que je suis aujourd'hui.
Because racism made me who I am today.
Ils m'ont permis de connaître qui j'étais réellement.
It enabled me to know who I truly was.
Et ils m'ont permis de comprendre l'importance de me battre pour défendre notre population.
And it enabled me to understand the importance of fighting to defend our people.
Ce racisme-là, c'est notre ancêtre Seth, par exemple.
That racism is like our ancestor said.
Nous ne sommes pas obligés de nous aimer, nous tous, parmi les peuples de l'humanité.
We are not obliged to love all of us amongst people of humanity.
La question n'est pas d'aimer tout le monde, mais c'est le respect.
It's not about loving everybody, it's about respect.
Il n'y a qu'au peuple noir qu'on dit vous devez vous battre contre le racisme.
It's only to black people they say things like you need to fight against racism.
Avez-vous déjà vu les Chinois se battre contre le racisme ici ou ailleurs?
Have you ever seen Chinese fight against racism here or elsewhere?
Les Chinois sont là pour avoir le pouvoir économique, le pouvoir culturel et le pouvoir politique.
The Chinese are there fighting to get economical power, political power, strategical power.
C'est ce qui compte le plus pour eux.
That's what counts most for them.
Et donc, certains qui peuvent ne pas s'aimer entre eux, parfois sont capables de s'unir pour vaincre le mal absolu.
And even though they may have division amongst them, they are capable of uniting themselves to fight against the ultimate evil.
Et c'est ça la géostratégie.
And that is what geostrategy is.
Levez la main ceux qui ont entendu parler de notre combat contre le franc CFA et contre le néocolonialisme.
Raise your hand if you heard about our struggle against the franc CFA, the colonial franc.
Ok. En 2019, après notre campagne contre le néocolonialisme qui a connu un grand succès,
In 2019, following our campaign against neocolonialism that was very successful,
nous avons été contactés par tous les gouvernements hostiles à l'Occident.
we were contacted by all government that was hostile to Western powers.
En Amérique du Sud,
In South America,
en Europe de l'Est,
in Eastern Europe,
dans le monde arabe,
in the Arabic world.
tous les pays que le gouvernement américain a dit que c'était des pays dangereux, ils nous ont dit « Coucou Kemi, c'est nous ».
All those nations that the American government labeled as dangerous said, hello, Kemi, here we are.
And I say, hello! Et nous sommes partis rencontrer tous ces pays ou toutes ces organisations diabolisées par l'Occident.
And we went to meet all those countries and all those organizations that were demonized by the West.
On nous a dit le Hezbollah, ce sont des gens méchants.
They told us the Hezbollah are evil people.
Mais on a mangé des biscuits au miel, on a bu le thé, c'était génial.
Well, we had honey cookies and we had breakfast and it was lovely.
On nous a dit les Russes, ils sont très 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 dangereux, très méchants.
They told us the Russians are very dangerous, very evil.
On a mangé du saumon parfait, très bon, c'était
We had
magnifique.
delicious salmon, it was very good.
Et ils étaient très gentils avec nous.
And they were very kind to us.
La réalité est qu'il arrive un moment où même si on ne s'aime pas les uns les autres, nous avons un ennemi commun et nous devons être capables de faire preuve de stratégie.
The truth is that even though we may not like each other and may have differences, there comes a time where we have to be able to put our differences aside when we have a common enemy.
En 2019, nous avons même été invités par le gouvernement italien.
In 2019, we were even invited by the Italian government.
Le gouvernement qui était dirigé à l'époque par le mouvement 5 étoiles.
The government that back in those days were run by the movement 5 étoiles,
Five star.
5 star.
Gouvernement qui n'est ni de gauche ni de... Un parti politique qui n'était ni de gauche ni de droite, qui était un parti populiste.
A party that was neither left or right, it was a populist party.
Et on a été invité à l'Assemblée nationale.
And we were invited to the National Assembly.
Et le jour où on est arrivé, on était avec mon bogolan, on était avec nos tenues africaines. Le gardien n'a pas voulu nous laisser rentrer à l'intérieur.
And the day we came, we were bringing our African attire, traditional attire, and the gatekeeper didn't want to let us in.
Il pensait qu'on était des immigrants illégaux.
He thought that we were illegal migrants.
Et on lui a dit non, c'est votre gouvernement qui nous invite.
And we said, no, it was your government that invited us.
Nous sommes venus avec un dossier de 200 pages
We came with a file of 200 pages.
qui parlait du néocolonialisme français.
They were talking about French neocolonialism.
Pourquoi le gouvernement italien s'intéressait à ça?
Why was the Italian government interested in that
Parce
matter?
que nous savons que l'Italie est un pays très raciste.
Because we know that Italy is a very racist nation.
Mais même s'ils sont très racistes,
But even though they are very racist,
ils en ont marre de l'arrogance de la France qui donne des leçons de droits de l'homme à tout le monde, alors que la France elle-même ne respecte pas ses droits de l'homme.
they are fed up with the arrogance of French, preaching to the humanity lessons about human rights when France itself doesn't respect human rights.
Nous avons eu plusieurs séances de travail.
We had many workshop sessions.
Et quelques mois après, pour la première fois de l'histoire depuis la fin de la Seconde Guerre mondiale, il y a eu un incident diplomatique entre la France et l'Italie.
And few months later, for the first time in the history since World War II, there was a diplomatic incident between Italy and France.
Ils étaient tous en train de déchirer des billets de francs CFA.
They were all ripping off bills of France CFA.
Vous vous en souvenez?
Do you remember that incident?
Nous sommes à l'origine de ça.
We were the root cause of it.
Willie Lynch a appris le diviser pour régner.
Willie Lynch told us to divide and conquer.
On va appliquer cela contre eux maintenant aussi.
We are going to apply that against them today.
Nous aussi, nous savons être stratégiques.
We too know how to be strategic.
Il n'y a que comme ça que nous pourrons nous en sortir.
That's the only way we'll be able to get out here.
Quand je parlais tout à l'heure de l'interconnexion entre ces deux guerres, guerre entre le monde occidental et ceux qui lui résistent, et la guerre entre notre peuple, le peuple noir, et les autres peuples qui n'aiment pas les noirs.
When I was talking about the interconnection between those two wars, the war between the East, the Western world and those nations oppressed by them, and the war between black people and the nations that want to oppress black people,
je voulais mettre l'emphase sur la nécessité pour notre peuple de comprendre qu'au-delà de la guerre du peuple noir contre les autres qui nous haïssent, il y a aussi une guerre géopolitique que nous ne devons pas minorer.
I want to emphasize the point that for the black people, beyond the war that opposes us to the people that oppress us, there's also another war on the geopolitical side.
Yeah. Il y a une guerre au niveau vertical et une guerre au niveau horizontal.
There is like a vertical war and a horizontal war.
La guerre au niveau, c'est le contraire.
Vertical and horizontal, sorry.
La guerre au niveau horizontal est la guerre entre le peuple noir et d'autres peuples qui peuvent être opprimés par l'Occident, mais qui font preuve parfois de racisme contre nous.
The horizontal war is the war between black people and other melanated nations that are oppressed by the West and that have a similar struggle to us.
Et la guerre au niveau vertical qui est la guerre de tous ces peuples opprimés contre l'oligarchie d'Occident.
And the vertical war is a war between all oppressed people, all melanated people and the West.
Nous ne devons pas négliger cette guerre verticale sous prétexte que nous sommes confrontés à la guerre horizontale.
We must not neglect the vertical war using the pretense or the excuse that we are occupied by the horizontal war.
Parce que si nous ne prenons pas place dans cette guerre contre l'oligarchie occidentale, donc dans cette guerre verticale,
So, because if we do not take active part, if we do not partake in this war, the vertical war against the Western oligarchy,
le jour où l'oligarchie occidentale va tomber et va être remplacée par les BRICS ou par la Chine, la Russie et d'autres pays,
the day that oligarchy falls and is replaced by the BRICS or whatever other power structure will come after that from other nations,
parce que nous n'aurons pas pris part à cette guerre contre l'oligarchie occidentale,
because we did not take part in that war against the Western oligarchy,
ceux qui remplaceront l'oligarchie occidentale seront les nouveaux oppresseurs de notre peuple aussi.
those who replace Western oligarchy will become our new oppressor.
Nous devons profiter de ce changement d'ordre mondial.
We have to make the most of this change of the global world order.
Et nous devons faire en sorte que notre peuple puisse être au centre réellement, non pas en subissant, mais en étant des acteurs principaux de ce changement d'ordre mondial.
And you have to make sure that we are at the heart of this conflict, not by just being the people being the receiving end of it, but be people that are active and proactive in this struggle against Western oligarchy.
Et dans le même temps, nous devons continuer cette guerre au niveau horizontal.
And at the same time, we still have to keep up the struggle of the horizontal war.
Partout où nous allons, en Amérique du Sud, ou au Moyen-Orient, ou en Europe de l'Est, nous nous connectons avec les peuples originels.
Wherever we go, in Asia, in Southern America, in Asia, or in Western Europe, we make connection with the original people.
Cuba dit que c'est un pays extrêmement révolutionnaire.
Cuba says it's a country that is extremely revolutionary.
Mais les Noirs sont opprimés là-bas.
But black people are oppressed over there.
Nous devons le dire.
We have to say it.
L'Iran, beaucoup critiquent l'Iran, mais pour avoir visité et avoir été de très nombreuses reprises dans ce pays, c'est un pays sur beaucoup de points très révolutionnaire.
Iran is a country that many have criticized, but for having visited it personally, I can say that in many aspects it's a country that is very revolutionary.
Mais je sais que notre peuple est très discriminé là-bas.
But I know that our people are very oppressed over there.
Comme beaucoup de femmes le sont aussi.
As many women are too.
La Chine, pareil, pays qui dérange l'Occident.
China is the same thing, another country that annoys the Western nations.
Mais à part certaines villes où les Noirs sont tolérés,
but apart from a few cities where black people are tolerated,
il y a beaucoup de racisme aussi en Chine.
There is lots of racism in China.
Partout dans le monde, notre peuple est confronté au même problème.
Everywhere across the world, our people are confronted to the same issue.
Et ce qui fera en sorte que cette hostilité vis-à-vis de notre peuple changera,
and what will make this hostility toward our people change,
ça sera notre capacité à nous organiser réellement en tant que communauté sur différents secteurs et différents territoires.
Will be our capacity to truly organize ourselves as community on different sectors in different territories.
Quand vous tuez un juif, toute la terre s'arrête de respirer.
When you kill a Jew, the entire planet stops.
Même l'univers arrête de respirer.
Even the universe stops breathing.
Même les satellites arrêtent de bouger.
Even satellites stop spinning.
Même les étoiles arrêtent de...
Even stars stop moving.
Même le soleil est bloqué.
Even the sun is blocked.
Mais quand vous touchez un noir, le monde continue de tourner.
When you touch a black man, the world keeps on spinning.
Est-ce vrai ou est-ce faux ce que je dis?
Is it true or not?
Quand vous touchez des noirs, même les présidents de nos pays ne réagissent pas.
When you touch a black people, even the president of our own country don't react.
Donc nous devons nous organiser différemment.
So we have to organize ourselves in a different manner.
Internet est un grand instrument aujourd'hui pour nous mobiliser.
The internet is a powerful tool for us today to mobilize.
Certains utilisent ça pour le booty checking only. I can't speak English for that. I know this game.
Some people only use it Some people only use it for booty checking only.
You like it?
For booty checking only.
You don't know what is it. The elder don't know what is it, and you are
booty
right.
shakes only.
That's not necessary to know this game. Only for him. More seriously, love, inspiration, and information for sure. Mais il est très important de comprendre que nous devons aussi nous servir d'Internet pour que quand un noir est touché n'importe où dans le monde, nous soyons tous connectés.
It is very important we also use the internet to mobilize so that when a black person is touched around the world, we are all connected.
Ce que nos élites ne font pas pour nous, nous devons le faire pour nous-mêmes.
What our elites and leaders are not doing for us, we have to do ourselves.
Nous devons compter uniquement sur nous-mêmes.
We must count only on ourselves.
Le seul leader du peuple noir, c'est le peuple noir lui-même.
The only leaders of the black people is the black people themselves.
Et dans le même temps, nous devons arrêter de nous limiter aux histoires maintenant de barrières linguistiques.
And at the same time, we have to stop to put linguistic barriers as an excuse.
C'est pour cette raison que notre organisation a décidé, après beaucoup d'invitations dans le monde, de faire cette tournée mondiale des diasporas noires.
It is for that reason that our organization, after many, has agreed to do many tours around the world to talk to the diaspora and the various communities.
Parce que nous sommes confrontés en réalité aux mêmes problèmes.
Because in reality, we are confronted to the same issues.
Qu'est-ce qui fait que chaque communauté noire dans le monde ne pèse pas comme elle doit peser?
Why is it that every black community around the world hasn't got the impact or the leverage that it should have?
Parce que les blessures du colonialisme et les blessures de l'esclavage sont encore trop présentes dans nos esprits.
Because colonial wounds and scars of slavery are still very fresh in our minds.
Quand un noir ou une noire brille, le premier qui essaie de l'attaquer, malheureusement, c'est son semblable.
Sorry. Sorry. When a black person tries to rise, the first people to oppress him are usually his brothers.
Quand un noir ou une femme noire sort un commerce très intéressant, les premiers qui vont le critiquer, ça sera ses semblables, son frère ou sa sœur.
When a black man or woman start a business, a startup that is very good, the first people to criticize that person or put them down will be black people.
Le pire ennemi de l'homme noir et de la femme noire, ce n'est pas le blanc, le chinois, l'arabe ou autre, c'est l'homme noir et la femme noire.
The worst enemy of black people is not the whites, the Chinese, or the Arabs, or other nation, is black people themselves.
Et le messie de l'homme noir et de la femme noire, c'est l'homme noir et la femme noire.
And the Messiah and the Savior of black people themselves is black people.
Nous devons comprendre qu'avant de demander à être aimés des autres, nous devons être capables de nous aimer entre nous.
We have to understand that before we can be able of loving others, we have to love ourselves first.
Quand vous n'êtes pas aimé par une personne, ça peut être une personne qui est bête.
When you are not loved by one person, it could be that one person is stupid.
Mais quand vous n'êtes pas aimé par 2 personnes, 3 personnes, 4 personnes, 10 personnes, ou que la majorité de l'humanité ne vous aime pas, à un moment donné, vous devez voir dans votre comportement ce qui fait que les autres ont cette capacité de vous opprimer.
But when you are not loved by 1, 2, 3, or the majority of humanity, at one point you must stop and look within yourself and ask, analyze your behavior to see what is wrong with me.
No, not only that. What give permission to the other people to attack us? That's because we are divided inside our community. You understand what I try to explain? Nous ne pouvons pas. I speak French now. I make a lot of effort for you. Mais vous ne pouvez pas demander aux autres de vous respecter si tout à l'intérieur de vous est déjà retourné.
You cannot ask others to respect you if everything within you is a mess.
Vous ne pouvez pas demander à ce que le reste de l'humanité vous prenne au sérieux si vous ne vous prenez pas au sérieux vous-même.
You cannot ask humanity to take you seriously if you don't take yourself seriously.
Vous ne pouvez pas. Quand, avec notre organisation, nous voyageons aux quatre coins du monde.
With our organization, we travel in all corners of the world.
Partout dans le monde, quand je vois des Chinois, les 3/4 du temps, je vois des Chinois, un homme chinois avec sa femme chinoise.
Everywhere in the world, when I see Chinese, most of the time, if I see a Chinese man, he's with a Chinese woman.
Mais partout où je voyage dans le monde,
But everywhere else where I go around the world,
quand je regarde mon frère,
when I look at my brothers,
derrière lui, c'est pas une femme de son peuple qui est là.
behind him is not a woman from our people that stands.
Je vais vous raconter une anecdote très sérieuse hier.
I will tell you a true story that happened yesterday.
Voilà, qui s'est passé hier. Hier, nous marchions à Brixton.
Yesterday, I was walking along Brixton.
Beaucoup de francophones nous ont reconnus, comme partout où nous allons.
Many of the French speakers have recognized her as like everywhere where we go.
À un moment, je vois un frère noir avec sa femme blanche.
A moment I see a black brother with his white wife.
Ils étaient comme ça.
This is how they are.
Dès qu'il a vu, il a dit, hey, Kemi Seba!
As soon as he saw me, he jumped off.
God is my witness. He was with women like that. Hey, Kemi Seba! Who are you? God is my witness. It is true. All my staff saw that. We say, oh, that's crazy. All of you, you know that it's not the good way. But you continue. You continue. You know that it's not good. You know that if you want to be respected by the other, you need to respect the mother of the civilization, who is a black woman. But some of you, you continue. Nous sommes... Nous sommes notre propre virus et nous sommes notre propre antidote.
We are our own viruses and we are our own antidote.
Tout est entre nos mains pour pouvoir nous libérer.
Everything is within our hand to free ourselves.
Nous voyons toutes les communautés comment elles s'organisent pour réussir.
We see how all other communities get organized to succeed.
Mais ce qui nous manque, c'est l'amour entre nous.
But what we lack is love between us.
Nous demandons l'amour de tout le monde, mais nous ne voulons pas l'amour entre nous.
We ask love of everybody, but we don't want love amongst ourselves.
Et tant que nous n'aurons pas l'amour entre nous, nous serons haïs par le reste de l'humanité.
And as long as we will lack love amongst us, we will be hated by the rest of humanity.
Et c'est pour ça que je dis que le premier problème, ce n'est pas le racisme des autres contre nous.
And that's why I'm saying the first issue is not the racism of other toward us.
C'est le manque d'amour entre nous-mêmes.
It's the lack of love amongst ourselves.
Mais je parle de l'homme noir, parlons aussi de la femme noire.
I'm talking about black men, but let's also talk about the black woman.
Nos sœurs doivent se rappeler que l'homme noir est la cible numéro 1 de l'impérialisme occidental.
our sister need to remember that the black man is the #1 target of the racism, Western racism.
Tout est fait pour nous détruire.
Everything is designed to destroy us.
Tout est fait pour nous émasculer.
Everything is done to emasculate the
Tout
black
est
man.
fait pour nous humilier.
Everything is done to humiliate the black
Tout est
man.
fait pour nous diaboliser.
Everything is done to demonize the black man.
Nous avons besoin du pilier de notre civilisation qui est la femme noire.
We need the pillar of our civilization, which is the
Nous avons
black woman.
besoin de votre compréhension quand nous vacillons.
We need your understanding when we're failing.
Nous avons besoin de votre support quand nous sombrons.
We need your support when we are sinking.
Nous avons été faits par pairs, hommes et femmes, pour mieux nous connaître.
We are made in pairs, men and women, to better know each other, better understand each other.
Et nous ne nous en sortirons que si nous sommes hommes et femmes qui nous entreconnaissons et qui nous faisons confiance.
And we only succeed if we are men and women that connect with each other and that trust each other.
Avant de passer à la phase très importante des questions-réponses,
Before moving to the very important round of Q&A,
il est très important que l'on dise, comme je l'ai précisé pour d'autres situations tout à l'heure, que je sais qu'il y a dans la salle certains frères ou certaines sœurs qui sont avec des blancs.
it is important that I mention, as I said earlier, that I know that there are certain brothers and sisters that are with people, with white people or white women.
Je veux que vous sachiez que nous vous aimons aussi
I want you to know that we love you too,
et que nous ne jugeons pas vos choix personnels.
and that we do not judge your personal choices.
Nous savons que l'amour, il est universel.
We know that love is universal.
Nous ne parlons pas au niveau individuel, mais au niveau global.
We are not talking here on the individual level, but on the global.
Il y a un système qui est fait pour pousser l'homme noir et la femme noire à ne plus s'aimer.
There is a system that is designed at pushing black men and black women at not loving each other anymore.
Cela ne signifie pas que l'amour ne peut pas exister avec d'autres personnes. Je sais que Cheikh Anta Diop, Frantz Fanon et d'autres étaient avec des femmes blanches.
That doesn't mean that you cannot have love with people of other races. I know that Sheikh Anta Diop, Frank Fanon, and others were with white women.
Il y a des gens bien dans tous les peuples.
There are good people in all races.
Mais mon message est de dire que si vous ne priorisez pas l'amour entre noirs, vous ne vous en sortirez pas.
But my message is to say that if you do not prioritize love amongst black people, you will not succeed.
Parce que amour noir égale pouvoir noir.
Because black love equals black power.
Pour finir mon propos avant les questions-réponses,
To end my speech before the Q&A,
je vous encourage très sérieusement à lire ce livre.
I strongly encourage you to read this book.
Parce que ce n'est pas simplement un livre de rappel de l'histoire.
Because it's not just a book of a reminder of history.
C'est un livre qui décrypte le monde aussi sur l'aspect métaphysique.
It's a book that is deciphering the world also on the metaphysical side.
Qui fait un trait d'union entre la réalité physique et la réalité métaphysique.
That creates a link between the physical reality and the spiritual reality.
Entre le monde géopolitique et le monde spirituel.
Between the geopolitical world and the spiritual world.
Parce que ce qui se passe là, ce n'est pas une guerre uniquement d'un peuple contre un autre, c'est une guerre de Dieu contre le diable.
Because what is happening here is not just a war of one people against another. It is a war between God and the devil.
Et si nous ne comprenons pas cela, nous continuerons à penser que la vie est un jeu, alors que c'est en réalité une guerre de survie.
And if we don't understand this, we'll keep thinking that life is a game, when in reality it is a struggle for survival.
Je vous remercie infiniment de m'avoir écouté.
I thank you greatly for your attention.
Et nous allons passer maintenant à la phase des questions-réponses. Merci
We can now
infiniment.
go on to the Q&A. Thank you very much.
Greetings. How do you practice black love and unity in a war setting?
Brother Sly, just translate that in French, just in case anybody missed it.
Comment est-ce qu'on peut faire le black love, l'amour noir, l'amour entre nous et noirs dans ces conditions de guerre, dans un état de guerre?
C'est une question très profonde que tu poses.
It's a very deep question that you're asking.
Je pense que le meilleur gilet pare-balles durant cette guerre que nous connaissons,
I think that the best bulletproof jacket during this war that we are living in
c'est la connaissance de soi.
is the knowledge of selves.
Et qui dit connaissance de soi,
And who speaks about knowledge of selves,
dit connaissance de son peuple,
talk about knowledge of our people,
connaissance de notre place originelle sur Terre.
the knowledge of our original place on this earth.
Cela signifie amour de soi.
That means self-love.
Et qui dit amour de soi,
And who mentions self-love
dit amour du miroir de son âme.
says love of your soul's reflection.
Et le miroir de notre âme, pour l'homme noir, c'est la femme noire, et pour la femme noire, c'est l'homme noir.
And the reflection of our soul for the black man is the black woman, and for the black woman is the black man.
Nous menons ce combat au péril de notre vie.
We are fighting this struggle and risking our lives.
J'ai été mis en prison à 4 reprises.
I was jailed 4 times.
2 reprises par le gouvernement français
Twice by the French government,
et 2 reprises par les gouvernements corrompus, c'était quoi, sénégalais et burkinabé.
and twice by the corrupt government of Senegal and
Burkina
Burkina Faso.
Et je sais que dans cette guerre que nous connaissons,
And I know that in this war that we are fighting,
si je n'avais pas l'amour de ma famille,
if I did not have the love of my family,
si je n'avais pas l'amour de notre peuple,
if I did not have the love from our people,
d'une partie importante de notre peuple,
of an important part, significant part of our people,
j'aurais, quoi qu'il arrive, mené ce combat, mais ça aurait été beaucoup plus difficile.
I would still fought this struggle, but it would have been much harder.
Nous ne devons pas négliger l'importance de l'amour
We must not neglect the importance of love
pour l'équilibre de notre santé mentale
for the well-being of our mental health
et pour cette quête de justice.
and for this quest for justice.
Parce que le sentiment le plus puissant de ce monde,
Because the most powerful emotion in this world
c'est l'amour.
is love.
L'amour du Créateur,
The love of the Creator,
l'amour de ses créations,
the love of His creations,
l'amour de notre peuple
the love of our people,
et l'amour du juste.
the love of the just.
Thank you very much, my sister.
Thank you.
We're going to take a next question. By the way, before that question, though, I do want to say I happen to know the individual that asked that question, and I want to just make sure that people understand that the sister is actually an example of the answer to the question that she asked. I'm going to ask her and her king to stand, please. Yeah? All right? You know what I'm saying? That's a power couple right there. Yeah? So they're actually giving us an example. Yeah?
A good and beautiful example.
All right. Nat Nye and Stella B of the Out of Noise podcast, yeah? So check them out, family, yeah? If you want to know what black love look like in action, yeah? Check them out. My brother, introduce yourself and your institution, please, yeah? Thank you.
Okay, so I'm the CEO and founder of African Street, Pan-African organization based in Nairobi. I'm actually going back to Nairobi on Tuesday.
C'est le fondeur d'une association panafricaine qui est basée à Nairobi au Kenya.
Yeah, so it's obviously media warfare.
Say your name, please, my brother. Say your name.
Oh, yeah, so my name is Ahmed Kabelo. I'm originally from Sudan. I've got 2 very quick questions, if I may. So with my organization, we have to make sure that the information is correct, because it is a game of media warfare. And we've been covering the events quite closely in Guinea, Burkina Faso, and Mali. And I just wanted to get your expertise. As Pan-Africans, should we be supporting the governments of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Guinea in their fight against French imperialism? Or should we be wary that they're going from one pole to another? So that was the first part of my question. The second part of my question, if I may, obviously I'm Sudanese. My whole family's been evacuated in Khartoum. I'd love to get your analysis and breakdown of what you think is happening there.
OK. Faisant partie d'une organisation panafricaine qui travaille dans les médias, il couvre souvent les incidents de ce qui se passe et voulait savoir s'il devrait soutenir le gouvernement du Burkina Faso, Guinée et Mali dans leur lutte en ce moment-ci, ou ce serait plutôt que ces gouvernements seraient plutôt les pousser d'aller d'un pôle à l'autre, comme vous l'avez mentionné dans votre intervention. Et puis, il aimerait aussi savoir, parce qu'il vient du Soudan, il vient de Khartoum, mais en ce moment-ci, il y a le conflit qui a recommencé. Il voulait aussi avoir, si possible, ta lecture sur ce qui est en train de se passer en ce moment-ci.
Très importante question. Very important question. He's silent.
Sorry.
No problem.
Very important station.
Obviously, in my mind, I think that it's very necessary to support strongly the government of Burkina Faso, of Mali, and in another way of Guinea. Why? Because all these governments are very supported. First, Mali and Burkina Faso. Guinea is another example. But are deeply, strongly supported by the grassroots in this country. That's not coup d'etat. You say coup d'etat in English?
A coup.
That's not a classical coup d'etat. That's the popular coup d'etat. And we participate, our organization, in all this grassroots mobilization against the former president who were very big puppets of French government. And when, I will speak French now. Yeah, I think I make a lot of effort today. Yeah. Nous avons participé fortement aux mobilisations contre les anciens dirigeants de ces pays.
We strongly contributed to the mobilization against those former leaders of those countries.
Parce que ces anciens dirigeants étaient des grandes marionnettes de la France et de l'Occident.
Because they were Western puppets of France and the West.
Et les coups d'État qui ont eu lieu
and the coup that took part
n'étaient pas des coups d'État classiques qu'on a l'habitude de voir,
were not your classic coup that we usually see,
mais c'était la continuité militaire de mobilisation citoyenne.
But it was the military continuation of a citizen mobilization.
Et donc le dirigeant du Mali, Assimi Goïta,
so the leader of Mali, Assimi Goïta,
qui est un frère et un ami,
who is a brother and a friend,
ou le président du Burkina Faso, qui est Ibrahim Traoré,
or the president of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traoré,
sont des gens qui sont le résultat d'une volonté populaire.
Are the people that are there as a result of the popular will of the people.
Et donc nous devons les supporter fortement parce qu'ils font peur à l'Occident.
So we have to give them our strongest support because those people are scaring the West.
Alors c'est vrai, oui, ces pays sont soutenus par la Russie et la Chine.
And yes, it is true, those countries are supported by Russia and China.
Mais nous devons être des plus pragmatiques.
But we have to be the most pragmatic.
Quand vous vous débarrassez, quand vous essayez de vous échapper des mains de votre pire ennemi,
when you are trying to get away from the hands of your worst enemies,
et que vos autres frères, vos autres pays frères ne vous soutiennent pas,
and that your other brothers and sisters are not helping you,
vous êtes obligé de chercher des soutiens là où ils se trouvent.
You have to find support where you can find it.
Il y a 54 pays africains.
There are 54 African nations.
Mais face aux problèmes que notre peuple connaît au Sahel,
but looking at the situation that our people are facing in the Sahel region,
normalement tous les pays d'Afrique auraient dû se mobiliser pour lutter contre ce terrorisme-là.
All African nations should be mobilized to fight against terrorism in the Sahel.
Mais parce que nos dirigeants sont trop divisés.
But because our leadership are very divided.
Et ne se supportent pas les uns les autres.
And they don't support one another.
Nous sommes obligés de nous organiser géopolitiquement pour trouver des options, des alliés, là où ils se trouvent.
We are forced to organize ourselves geopolitically to find allies where they are.
Donc le Mali ne se bat pas pour être sponsorisé par la Russie ou par la Chine.
So the struggle of Mali is not one to be sponsored by China or Russia.
Le Mali se bat pour sa propre survie.
Mali is fighting for its own survival.
Pareil pour le Burkina Faso.
Same for Burkina Faso.
Et parce que les pays qui l'attaquent en premier sont des pays africains comme la Côte d'Ivoire du traître Alassane Ouattara,
And because the first nation to attack them are African nations, such as the Ivory Coast by the traitor of Alassane Ouattara,
qui est président de Côte d'Ivoire,
who is the president of Ivory Coast,
ces dirigeants sont obligés de chercher des alliés là où ils se trouvent.
those leaders are forced to look for allies where they are.
Je continue maintenant sur la deuxième partie de ta question qui est très importante.
I would now like to address the second part of the question, which is very important.
Ce qui se passe au Soudan est profondément géopolitique.
What is happening in Sudan has very deep geopolitical roots.
Le dirigeant Omar el-Béchir, l'ancien président du Soudan,
The former president of Sudan, Omar al-Bashir,
a fait beaucoup de mauvaises choses vis-à-vis du peuple.
had done many evil things toward the people.
Mais dans le même temps, dérangeait profondément l'oligarchie occidentale.
But at the same time, he was really annoying the Western oligarchy.
Il les dérangeait énormément.
He was truly, truly a pain on their neck.
Et lorsqu'il y a une révolution citoyenne légitime de la population soudanaise,
And while there was a legitimate citizen revolution in Sudan,
le diable qu'est l'oligarchie occidentale
the devil that is a Western oligarchy
a essayé de récupérer la mobilisation de la jeunesse du Soudan
tried to hijack the mobilization and the revolution of Sudan
pour faire chuter Omar el-Béchir
to make al-Bashir fall
et pour placer à la tête des gens qui seraient plus proches de l'Occident.
and to put in the leadership people that be closer to Western's interests.
Ce qui se passe là, c'est qu'il y a une guerre entre des groupes militaires soutenus par la Russie
At the moment, what is happening is there is a war between military group supported by Russia
et des groupes militaires soutenus par l'Occident.
and military group supported by the West.
C'est une nouvelle forme de guerre froide qui a lieu.
It's a new form of Cold War happening.
Nous devons mettre en priorité nos intérêts.
We have to prioritize our own interests.
Mais nous devons nous rappeler que l'obsession doit être de faire reculer l'Occident.
But we have to remember that the goal is to push back the West.
Quand vous étudiez en latin ce qu'est l'Occident,
When you study in Latin what is the West,
in French we say, West we say Occident.
in French we say Occidental.
Occident, c'est là où le soleil se couche.
The West is where the sun sets.
L'Orient, c'est là où le soleil se lève.
The East is where the sun rises.
En latin.
In Latin, Orient.
Quand quelqu'un se perd, on dit qu'il est désorienté.
When someone is lost, we say he's disoriented.
You know? Qui n'a pas son orient, qui n'a pas sa direction.
That he's lost his orient, he's lost his direction.
Celui qui est en mode Occident, c'est quelqu'un qui est perdu.
Someone who's in the Occidental mode is someone who's lost.
La spiritualité n'est pas du côté de l'Ouest.
Spirituality is not in the West.
Les valeurs justes ne sont pas du côté de l'Ouest.
The right values are not in the West.
Le reste du monde a ses valeurs traditionnelles.
The rest of the world has its traditional values.
Quand l'Occident vous back up,
When
the Western world try to back you,
when the Western world try to back you,
thank you for repeating my word. That's a particular meeting today. Vous n'allez pas dans la bonne direction.
that means that you're going in the wrong direction.
L'Occident est le synonyme de corruption.
The Occident is rhymed with corruption.
L'impérialisme occidental est le synonyme de l'abandon de votre identité.
Western imperialism is synonymous with the abandon of your identity.
Et si je dois choisir, ou si nous devons choisir entre l'Occident, la Russie et de l'autre côté la Russie, la Chine, Cuba, l'Iran, je choisirai le deuxième côté.
And if you have to choose between the West on one side or the Occident on one side and Russia and China and the other nation
And Cuba and the other
Cuba
nation.
and so forth, I
Même
would
si j'ai-
choose the other nations.
Même si je peux avoir des problèmes avec ces derniers pays.
Even if I may have issues with those countries.
Donc nous devons observer ce qui se passe au Soudan.
So we have to observe what is happening in Sudan.
Et la société civile doit cette fois-ci éviter de se faire de nouveau récupérer par les officines comme celle de George Soros.
So, and the civil society have to be very careful not to be once more hijacked by people like George Soros.
Parce que ces gens-là sont très forts pour désorienter nos mobilisations.
Because they are expert at demobilizing or hijacking our mobilization.
Voilà ma réponse à ton importante question.
That's my answer to your question.
Merci mon frère.
We're going to take another question. I'm going to take a slight liberty, though, just to add to the question about Mali and Burkina Faso. There has been some talk of them getting rid of the colonial border and unifying the nation. Have you heard of this?
Yeah, of course.
And what do you think of the viability of this?
Some of our people are very involved in this situation. Some of representatives of organizations in Burkina Faso and Mali are deeply involved inside. And what I can to express about the situation is the future of Africa is this kind of connection. We need to destroy the colonial barrier. You understand what I mean? And to understand that even if there is a lot of diversity of ethnic in appearance, but in truth, we are the same people. And we need to create, to organize, to mobilize all the effort which is possible to create the United States of Africa. That's our destiny. That's the future. That's a necessity.
All right.
Bon, je vais parler en français. Je parle français. Je ne connais pas bien l'anglais. Kemi Seba, bonjour.
Bonjour, mon frère.
J'ai deux petites questions seulement. D'abord, je suis congolais, de RDC. Il y a ma nièce qui est là.
So he has only two questions. First of all, he is Congolese from DRC, and he has his nieces in the room.
Yeah. Donc, la première question, Kemi Seba, vous êtes vraiment écouté par la jeunesse africaine. Et ma
First question is, Kemi Seba, you are really well followed by African youth who listen to your messages.
Et ma question c'est, vous pouvez pas lancer un message à la jeunesse rwandaise pour ce qui se passe au Congo?
Can you send a message to Rwandan youth about what is going on in the DR Congo?
Ce qui se passe au Congo, c'est le Rwanda qui fait la guerre au Congo pour les Occidentaux.
What is happening in Congo is that we have Rwanda making war against Congo for Western interests.
Et cette situation, on l'a connue déjà pendant l'esclavage. C'est l'homme noir, vous venez de parler, c'est toujours l'homme noir qui tue son frère noir pour les intérêts de l'homme blanc.
And this situation reminds us of what we see through slavery. It's always the black man killing his own brother for the interest of the white man.
Bon, ma deuxième question est que votre combat, c'est pour avoir le pouvoir et diriger ce monde, diriger l'Afrique, ou c'est seulement pour sensibiliser et réveiller les gens? Puisqu'il faut avoir le pouvoir pour changer le monde comme vous le rêvez.
So the second question is the struggle that you are fighting at the moment to gain power to lead this part of Africa, or is it just to raise awareness of people? Because if you want to make change, you need to have power to lead.
Very important question. But the answer will be more important in this way.
Question très importante, et la réponse sera encore plus importante.
Pour commencer, tu as parlé d'un sujet qui me tient à cœur, qui est la guerre qui a lieu à l'heure actuelle à l'est du Congo.
For starter, you talk about a subject that is very important to me, which is the war happening in eastern DRC.
Et tu m'as demandé de lancer un appel à la jeunesse rwandaise.
And you asked me to make a call to the Rwandan youth.
Je te remercie pour cet appel, mon frère.
I thank you for this call, brother.
Mais l'appel que je vais lancer va être en priorité à la population congolaise.
But the call that I'm going to make today is primarily to the Congolese people.
Parce qu'il y a un proverbe qui dit qu'une civilisation est détruite par l'extérieur que si elle est rongée de l'intérieur.
Because there is a proverb that says that if there is no enemy within, the enemy outside cannot harm us. That's the African proverb.
On ne va pas toujours pouvoir parler du Rwanda sans régler les problèmes à l'intérieur du Congo.
We cannot always talk about Rwanda without first talking about the problem inside Congo.
Si le Congo était uni, si le peuple congolais se préoccupait de sa survie, le Congo ne serait jamais attaqué de cette façon à l'est du Congo.
If Congolese were united, if the Congolese people were struggling for their survival, the Congolese will not be in the situation where they are today.
Si les Congolais pensaient moins à Fali Ipupa et aux chanteurs congolais et se préoccupaient plus de leur survie, il n'y aurait pas d'attaque à l'est du Congo.
If Congolese were spending less time talking about Fali, If Congolese people were spending less time talking about Fali Ipupa and music in Congo, they would not be attacked what they are now in Eastern Congo.
Le Rwanda est un petit pays.
Rwanda is a small nation.
Parler tout le temps du Rwanda plutôt que de parler de l'inaction de l'élite corrompue congolaise et d'une grande partie de la population congolaise, c'est une insulte à la dignité congolaise.
To talk about the actions of Rwanda without addressing the inaction and the incompetence of Congolese leadership is a big insult or betrayal to the Congolese cause, the Congolese nation.
Le Congo a tous les moyens de s'organiser, de se lever pour résister, pour mettre un terme à ce qui se passe à l'est du Kivu.
Congolese people have all the means to get organized, to resist and put an end to this conflict.
Et je peux en parler parce que notre ONG déploie de gros moyens à l'est du Congo pour contribuer à lutter contre ce mal qui se passe là-bas.
And I can say this because our NGO spent a lot of resources and time in the Eastern Congo to contribute to the solution to this crisis.
Notre ONG Urgence Pan-Africaniste a une antenne très active à l'est du Congo, dirigée par Fortifi Lushima et Maud Salomé Ekila.
Our NGO has a strong leadership in Congo, in Eastern Congo, directed by Maud Salomé Ekila and
Fortifi Lushima.
Fortifi Lushima.
Cette organisation lutte tous les jours pour dénoncer le pillage des matières premières à l'est du Congo.
This organization works every day to denounce the systematic looting of mineral resources in Eastern Congo.
Ils sont parfois arrêtés sur place.
They are sometimes arrested on the ground.
Par leurs propres compatriotes
By
congolais.
their own brothers and sisters who are
Ils
Congolese.
sont parfois maltraités par la police de leur propre pays congolais.
They are beaten by the police of their own nation, which is Congolese.
On ne va pas tous les jours parler du Rwanda alors qu'à l'intérieur du Congo, le problème est déjà là.
We are not going to talk every day about Rwanda when inside Congo the problem is really deep.
Nous devons être capables aujourd'hui de nous assumer en tant que peuple.
We have to be able to take ownership today as a people.
Tout à l'heure, je vous disais que nous devons arrêter de nous plaindre que les autres ne nous aiment pas. Le vrai problème, c'est nous-mêmes.
Earlier, I mentioned that we have to stop complaining that the others don't love us. The true problem sometimes is ourselves.
C'est le même problème pour le Congo.
It's the same issue for Congo.
Et le problème du Congo, ce n'est pas le Rwanda.
And the issue of the real problem of Congo is not Rwanda itself.
C'est l'élite, l'oligarchie du Rwanda.
Is the oligarchy and the elite, the leadership of Rwanda.
Et l'oligarchie corrompue du Congo.
And the corrupt leadership or oligarchy of Congo.
Nous devons être capables de dire la vérité aujourd'hui.
We have to be able to tell the truth to people as it is.
Et les résistants au Congo
and the people who are struggling in Congo, the activists in Congo,
doivent comprendre que s'ils veulent que la plupart des Africains rejoignent cette lutte,
they must understand that if they want most of the Africans to join the struggle,
ils doivent changer la communication.
They have to change the narrative, the communication.
Le problème, ce sont des milices privées rwandaises.
The issue is that there are private militia from Rwanda
qui sont sponsorisés par les multinationales occidentales.
They are sponsored by Western multinationals.
Ce n'est pas le Rwanda. Il y a plein de Rwandais que je connais qui sont contre cette guerre.
It's not Rwanda itself. There are many Rwandans that I know that are against this war.
Et les multinationales veulent que l'on reste dans un combat entre le Congo et le Rwanda.
And multinationals want to keep us in a struggle between Congo and Rwanda.
Mais le problème reste toujours le même. C'est le capitalisme et le néolibéralisme. Ce sont ces multinationales-là.
And the issue is still the same. It's capitalism and neoliberalism of those multinationals.
Très important.
It's very important.
Deuxième question de mon grand frère.
A second question of my elder.
Est-ce que nous allons continuer à traverser le monde pour sensibiliser nos populations?
Are we going to keep on going around the world to mobilize people?
Contre l'impérialisme?
Against imperialism?
Ou alors nous allons simplement nous présenter à des élections?
Or are we going to present ourselves in elections?
J'aime beaucoup cette question.
I love this question.
Dans la vie, il y a les rois.
In the life, there are kings.
Et il y a les faiseurs de rois.
And there are kingmakers.
Quand vous voyez ce qui se passe au Mali,
when you see what is happening in Mali,
ou au Burkina,
or in Burkina Faso,
aucun de ces dirigeants ne serait dirigeant.
None of those leaders will be leaders today.
S'il n'y avait pas eu les mobilisations dont nous parlons.
If there wasn't all this mobilization work that we're talking about.
Et ces mobilisations, notre organisation a été au centre de toutes ces mobilisations.
And our organization was at the heart of all those mobilizations.
Le problème qu'il y a à l'intérieur de notre peuple parfois,
the issue that we have amongst our people sometimes,
c'est que nous sommes obsédés par les titres.
Is that we are obsessed with titles.
Quand vous demandez à un Africain au pays,
when you ask an African back home,
je veux être ministre.
I want to be minister.
Je veux être député.
I want deputy.
Je veux être président.
I want to be president.
Ce sont les titres qui intéressent beaucoup de gens.
Those are titles. It's the title that they are most interested in.
Mais ce qui compte, ce n'est pas les titres.
What counts is not the title.
C'est ce que vous faites pour faire changer les situations.
It's what you do to make a difference.
Peut-être que j'ai aujourd'hui 41 ans. Peut-être que d'ici quelques années, vous me verrez à la tête du Bénin.
Today, I'm 41.
Mais ce que nous faisons ici, mais
today I'm 41, and maybe one day you'll be seeing me at the leadership of Togo.
Et pour moi, plus prodigieux que si nous étions à la tête de l'État.
What we're doing today, for me, is more prestigious than being the head of state.
Parce que nous faisons reculer l'influence occidentale en Afrique.
Because we're pushing back Western influence
par des actions politiques au niveau citoyen.
By political action on a citizen level.
Et nous rappelons à tous les citoyens
and we remind every citizen
qu'ils peuvent changer la situation de notre peuple de là où ils sont.
That they can make a difference and change the situation of our people from where they are.
Arrêtons d'attendre de présidents ou de présidentes qui puissent changer notre sort.
Let's stop waiting for a president or other leaders to change our situation.
Changeons notre sort nous-mêmes.
Let's change our future ourselves.
C'est notre chemin. Merci infiniment.
Yes. Peace and love. First and foremost, Brother Shakwa, appreciate you putting this on and creating this space for all of us. It's needed so much, and the gratitude is a must, so appreciate you. And also to Brother Kemi, appreciate you being a man of action and saying, because you rightly said that all around the diaspora, we need to not use language as a barrier. And you're testament to that by coming here, and I feel more...
Sorry, brother, pause for a second.
Blessings, yeah. So we appreciate you being a man of action and crossing the language barrier. Feel more pumped. I'm with my brother as well, and we're feeling very pumped and inspired. The first thing I wanted to say is...
Sorry, bro. Let Brother Slide just translate what you just said.
Okay, no problem.
On apprécie l'effort que tu fais pour briser les barrières linguistiques et d'être présent ici, aujourd'hui parmi nous. Et il apprécie beaucoup le travail que tu fais, Brother Kemi Seba.
Blessings. So the first thing that I wanted to say is, I look at Russia, I see red, white, and blue. I look at the United Kingdom, I see red, white, and blue. I look at the Netherlands, I see red, white, and blue. I see enough of them, red, white, and blue. So I did say the UK as well. So my question to you is, how authentic do you feel like this clash between the West and the East, as it were, like Russia and Chinese, and China also adopting the kind of the capitalist approach to things now? How authentic do you think those battles are, and what does that mean for our liberation? If these people are posing as so-called enemies but are friends behind closed doors, what does that mean in terms of our approach and our methodologies? And then lastly, I wanted to ask about...
One moment. Let me just pause and
sorry,
get that one.
Sorry.
Okay. Alors, il dit qu'il voit bleu, blanc, rouge en Russie, en Angleterre et en Hollande. Et il se demande, est-ce que le combat qu'on voit en ce moment entre la Russie et l'Europe est vraiment authentique, est vraiment une chose, un vrai conflit, quand on sait que derrière les portes, ils sont toujours en train de collaborer contre nous?
C'est une question très importante que tu poses.
It's a very important question that you're asking.
Est-ce que le combat qui existe aujourd'hui entre l'Occident et la Russie est un combat authentique?
Is the struggle currently happening between Russia and the West an authentic war?
Je vais te dire que c'est un combat profondément authentique.
I'll tell you that this is a very true and deeply authentic struggle.
C'est une guerre interethnique.
It's an interethnic war.
Quand ils voyaient les Noirs se battre entre eux, ils parlaient de guerre interethnique, n'est-ce pas?
When they see black people fighting amongst themselves, they talk about ethnical war, right?
Eh bien, quand on voit ces peuples blancs s'affronter, nous parlons nous aussi de guerre interethnique.
So when we see those people fighting, we also talk about ethnic war.
C'est une guerre entre des peuples qui ont eu l'habitude de conquérir par la mer et ceux qui ont eu l'habitude de conquérir par la terre.
It's a war amongst people that are used to conquer by the sea versus those who are used to conquer by land.
L'Amérique et l'Europe ont conquis le monde par la mer.
America and Europe have conquered the world by the sea.
La Russie a conquis son environnement par la terre.
Russia has conquered this world, this environment by land.
Ce sont les mêmes peuples caucasiens.
They are the same Caucasian people.
La différence est que le peuple caucasien de l'Est est beaucoup plus enraciné dans sa tradition.
The difference is that the Eastern Caucasian people are more enrooted in their tradition.
Et a donc encore un lien avec la dimension immatérielle.
And so they still have a link with the metaphysical and the spiritual.
D'où le côté de l'Église chrétienne orthodoxe.
From where we're getting the creation of the Orthodox Church in the West.
Là où les Européens et les Américains ont un éloignement complet vis-à-vis de l'aspect immatériel.
Where the West and America have a complete distance, have completely distanced themselves from the metaphysical side of things.
Nous ne pouvons pas faire confiance aveuglément à la Russie, soyons clairs.
We cannot blindly trust Russia, let's be clear.
Mais nous faisons beaucoup plus confiance stratégiquement à la Russie qu'en l'Occident.
But strategically, we can trust Russia more than the West.
Même si les deux ne sont pas nos amis.
Even though both of them, neither of them are our friends.
Nous devons être très précis dans l'analyse.
We have to be very precise in our analysis.
Cette guerre-là est une guerre non pas entre la Russie et l'Ukraine, mais une guerre mondiale.
This war is not a war between Russia and Ukraine, but a world war.
La guerre de l'Occident contre ceux qui résistent à son hégémonie.
It's a war of the West and against those who are resisting to his hegemony.
Poutine, au départ, a essayé d'être accepté par eux.
Putin, in the beginning, tried to be accepted by them.
C'est pour cette raison qu'on ne peut pas le considérer comme un allié à 100%.
That is why we cannot consider him as our ally 100%.
C'est quand l'Occident a essayé de faire un coup d'État contre Poutine.
It is when the West has tried to put a coup against Putin
que Poutine a durci le ton.
That Putin has hardened the tone.
Et est devenu un ennemi de l'Occident.
And became an enemy of the West.
Donc nous ne croyons pas aveuglement en lui.
So let's not blindly believe in him.
Mais nous savons que cette guerre-là nous profite.
But we know that this war is beneficial to us.
C'est important qu'on puisse le dire.
It is important that we say it.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Brother Kemi.
Voilà, je vais être très très courte. Et j'aime pas parler avec le micro, désolé. Je vais être très très courte. En tout cas, ma question c'est, vous avez parlé de cette union entre nous les Africains, quelles que soient nos origines. On parle aussi de par exemple l'union entre les Africains des Caraïbes, de l'Amérique. Maintenant, je pense comme d'autres personnes que je connais qui sont aussi dans ce même combat, vous avoir vous avec Nathalie Yamb ensemble, par exemple Philippe Simo, Zach Mekwassa, le Sud-Africain Julius Malema, enfin vous avoir tous ensemble, sachant que chacun aura son rôle. Ça donnera aussi cette image qui pourra aussi à nous, le reste de la communauté, à nous unir, à être plus nombreux. Donc, je ne sais pas.
Je vais un peu traduire.
Qu'est-ce qui peut...
So you've talked about this unity amongst black people, amongst melanated people in Africa, the Caribbean, elsewhere, okay? And so the question is, why not? What she would like to see her and a lot of people like-minded to her is this same unity between you and people like Nathalie Yam, Julius Malema, and other vocal African forces that are fighting for the struggle. Why don't you put together a united front as well to help maybe this cohesion that you're talking about, to empower the people to build this cohesion?
Merci ma sœur pour ta question. Mais
c'est tout?
Oui, c'est tout. Mais je suis en même temps un peu surpris de cette question.
Thank you very much for this question, but at the same time, I'm a bit surprised to receive that question.
Parce qu'on nous voit tout le temps ensemble avec Nathalie Yamb.
Because you see me all the time with Nathalie Yamb.
Nous sommes très proches et tout le monde le sait.
We are very close and everybody knows it.
C'est notre sœur, notre amie, nous menons ce combat ensemble.
Yeah, it's my sister, our friend, and we're fighting this struggle together.
Philippe Simon, que tu as dit, est un frère aussi.
Philippe Simon, that you mentioned, is also a brother.
Et nous devons comprendre que le panafricanisme, c'est comme un hôpital.
But we have to understand that Pan-Africanism is a bit like a hospital.
Chaque service a son importance.
Each services have their own importance.
Il y a des psychiatres.
There is psychiatric unit.
Il y a des cancérologues.
There are people that look after cancer.
Il y a des urgentistes comme Urgence Pan-Africaniste.
There are those in the emergencies like the Urgence Pan-Africanism.
Il y a des gens de toute sensibilité avec différentes méthodes, mais pour un même but, soigner le patient.
There are people from all backgrounds and with different methods and all there for the same purpose, which is to heal the patient.
Tous ces frères et sœurs sont nos frères et sœurs.
All these brothers and sisters are our brothers and sisters.
Et nous sommes connectés d'une façon ou d'une autre avec chacun d'entre eux.
And we are connected in a way or form to every single one of them.
Mais le plus important n'est pas simplement l'unité à l'intérieur de ce petit groupe.
But the most important is not just the unity amongst this small group.
C'est d'unir le plus possible les masses.
Is to unite as much as possible the masses.
Parce que le problème du panafricanisme d'antan,
and because the real issue of the old Pan-Africanism,
c'est qu'il y a eu un petit groupe de gens qui ont une vision et qui se sont unis, les dirigeants africains.
Because is that there was a small group of people that had a vision and that united themselves, which were the African leadership.
De la période des indépendances.
Of the independence period.
Des soi-disant indépendances.
Of the so-called independence era.
Mais quand ces dirigeants ont été tués ou ont été renversés,
but when those leaders were killed or put out of power,
le panafricanisme a disparu.
Pan-Africanism disappeared.
Et c'est pour ça que maintenant nous menons un combat qui est le panafricanisme des masses.
And so that's why we are now leading a new struggle, which is Pan-Africanism of the masses.
Tout à l'heure, le frère nous a dit pourquoi ne pas rentrer à l'élection dans un pays.
Earlier, the brother asked the question, why don't we go and try to put ourselves in the election in one country?
Notre obsession pour l'instant est de massifier le panafricanisme.
Our obsession at the moment is to spread Pan-Africanism amongst the masses.
Comme Marcus Garvey l'a fait en sensibilisant et en unifiant notre peuple partout.
Like Marcus Garvey did by unifying our people across the globe.
Et quand nous aurons connecté le plus possible les masses,
and when we have connected as many of our people as possible,
à ce moment-là, quand nous allons rentrer dans les institutions,
it's at that time that we'll get inside the institutions.
La situation aura changé puissamment.
And the situation would have changed dramatically.
Autre question. Merci, Mazoro.
Can I speak in French? It's easier.
Oui, oui.
Ouais. Déjà, je voudrais remercier Kemi Seba pour d'être venu. My French is getting worse than, you know. Et ce que je voulais lui demander, c'est que vous avez combattu pour le franc CFA. Parce que nous, on avait travaillé avec les pays de la CEMAC. On a travaillé avec la Guinée équatoriale, avec d'autres pays. Et vous êtes le premier à avoir mis à disposition des Blacks, surtout en France, de savoir que l'économie française est basée justement sur, je ne vais pas dire l'appauvrissement des pays d'Afrique, c'est ça, mais la Banque de France détient une certaine monnaie de l'Afrique centrale. Comme vous avez fait le combat pour le CFA, on en est où? Est-ce que finalement la Banque de France va pouvoir restituer la monnaie de la CEMAC qui est dans leur banque, parce que le gouvernement français, ils basent leur économie nationale sur les revenus de ce qu'il y a dans la France.
Je peux demander juste une petite question avant que je traduise pour mieux comprendre. La CEMAC, c'est quelle institution?
La communauté économique des États d'Afrique centrale.
Okay. So first of all, she wants to thank you for coming for the work that you are doing. She is working with institutions that work with the CEMAC, which is the Community of Eastern African Nations, and thank you for the work that you've done against the franc CFA. You were one of the first people to really raise awareness in France about the franc CFA and the oppressive system that is led by France central bank that is literally oppressing African nations to this day by withholding their currency. And so in that sense, you want to know what is the result of your struggle? What is the next step, so to speak, in this struggle to ban the franc CFA? Will the French institution be looking at paying reparation, returning things like the gold to those countries of the CIMAC group, or the CIMAC bloc?
Oui, c'est ça. That's good. Yeah. That's good. Alors, il est très important de préciser certaines choses pour cette question qui est très stratégique.
It is very important to be very precise for this question that is very strategic.
Premièrement, nous n'avons pas sensibilisé les masses en France uniquement, nous les avons sensibilisés dans toute l'Afrique francophone.
First of all, we did not just mobilize people in France alone. We mobilized the masses in the entire French-speaking Africa.
Plus même qu'en France.
More even than in France.
Nous avons mené ce combat à partir de l'endroit où nous étions en majorité, qui était l'Afrique de l'Ouest.
We started this struggle where we were in majority, which was in Western Africa.
Nous avons commencé la campagne contre le franc CFA fin 2016.
We started the campaign against the franc CFA at the end of 2016.
Le franc CFA est une monnaie coloniale.
The franc CFA is a colonial money.
Qui a été créée dans les années 40.
That was created in the 1940s.
Et qui a été créée pour permettre aux entreprises françaises de prendre les ressources en Afrique sans aucun contrôle.
And that was created to enable French company to extract resources in Africa without any control.
Et de faire du commerce entre entreprises françaises à l'intérieur du système colonial.
And to exchange and trade within French companies inside Africa.
Lorsque nous avons commencé les mobilisations fin 2016,
when we started mobilizing people at the end of 2016,
le feu de la contestation a beaucoup pris en Afrique de l'Ouest.
The spark of the outrage of the people really took on in Eastern Africa.
Cela a été ponctué par mon incarcération au Sénégal.
And this was accentuated by his arrest in Senegal.
Et mon expulsion par le gouvernement sénégalais, j'ai été expulsé hors du Sénégal.
And the fact that he was kicked out by the Senegalese government who banned him from Senegal.
Mais ce sacrifice a donné des fruits.
But that sacrifice had bear fruit.
Pour la première fois de l'histoire,
for the first time in history,
auparavant à l'intérieur des banques centrales africaines,
earlier inside the African central banks,
il y avait des représentants de la Banque de France qui avaient le droit de siéger à l'intérieur de nos banques centrales africaines.
There were representatives of the Banque de France, the French central bank, that were authorized to sit at the leadership table of the African Central Bank.
Et ils avaient le droit de veto sur certaines décisions.
And they had veto right on certain decisions.
Grâce à nos mobilisations, historiquement, ce droit de veto a été enlevé en Afrique de l'Ouest et la présence des représentants des banques de France ont été expulsés.
Because of the effort of our campaigning, those veto rights have been removed and those representatives have been kicked out of the national banks.
On doit le préciser.
We have to say it.
De la même façon, la sœur a parlé de quelque chose de très important. Elle a parlé des comptes d'opération.
In the same way, Sister mentioned something very important. She talked about operational accounts.
Ce sont justement les réserves de change que le Trésor français gagne à travers le franc CFA.
Those are national reserves that the French central bank gains through the franc CFA.
La Banque de France a fermé les comptes d'opération et a rendu les réserves de change aux banques centrales africaines d'Afrique de l'Ouest.
So the French bank has closed those accounts and gave the foreign exchange reserve, returned it back to those countries' central banks, those African countries' central banks.
En Afrique de l'Ouest.
In Western Africa, sorry.
Donc il y a beaucoup de changements qui ont été opérés suite à nos mobilisations en Afrique de l'Ouest.
So there are lots of changes that have happened following the mobilization effort they have done in West Africa.
Mais il reste un problème central en Afrique de l'Ouest. Après, je vais venir sur l'Afrique centrale.
But there is still a major issue in West Africa.
Nous avons milité pour que le franc CFA soit adossé à un taux de change flexible. Courage pour la traduction.
We fought so that the franc CFA have a flexible exchange rate. Was linked to a flexible exchange rate.
Parce que pour l'instant, le franc CFA est adossé à l'euro. Et l'euro est une monnaie beaucoup trop forte pour nos économies locales.
Because at the time being, the franc CFA is linked to the euro, and the euro currency is a currency that is way too high for the local economies.
Et l'euro, en réalité, c'est une monnaie qui bénéficie aux populations européennes, aux entreprises européennes en Afrique, mais ça ne bénéficie pas aux entreprises africaines.
And the euro is a currency that benefits to European companies, to European companies in Europe, but that does not benefit at all to African enterprises.
Et c'est pour ça que nous voulons adosser notre nouvelle monnaie à un panier à devises où il y aura plusieurs monnaies qui seront en adéquation avec la fluctuation de nos économies africaines. Stay strong, bro.
And so for that, what they want to do is to instead link the exchange rate to a basket of currencies or foreign exchanges that will be going and fluctuating, reflecting the reality of the African market.
Et donc maintenant, on arrive à la question focale qu'elle pose, qui est l'Afrique centrale.
And now we're going to go to the focal question of Central Africa.
Il semble que malgré toutes les critiques que nous avons contre les dirigeants d'Afrique centrale qui sont pour beaucoup très corrompus,
it seems that despite all the criticism that we have for Central African leaders who are very corrupt,
certains dirigeants d'Afrique centrale ont compris la nécessité de changer là aussi le franc CFA.
Certain leaders of Central Africa have also now understood the importance of changing the franc CFA.
Que ce soit avec le président de Centrafrique,
be it the president of the Central African Republic,
ou même le président que je déteste du Congo-Brazzaville,
even the one that I despise of Congo-Brazzaville,
ils sont en train de réfléchir, et comme les autres dirigeants de la CEMAC, pour avoir un autre système monétaire que le franc CFA.
They are now working with other leaders of the Eastern African community to have a different currency to the franc CFA.
Et ça, c'est le résultat de nos mobilisations en Afrique de
And
l'Ouest.
that is the fruit and the result of our mobilization efforts.
Donc nous observons actuellement les différentes réunions des dirigeants en Afrique centrale.
So we are now watching carefully the various meetings of leaders in the Central African region.
Et aussi en Afrique de l'Ouest parce que le travail n'est pas fini.
And also in Western Africa because the job is not done in that area.
Et si nous voyons que la situation traîne trop, nous reprendrons les mobilisations sur ce point.
And if we see that the situation they are dragging their feet, we will restart mobilizing people.
Nous restons observateurs et focalisés sur le changement de système monétaire.
We are staying as observers and we are focusing on the change of the monetary system.
Nous avons élargi la contestation à la présence militaire néocoloniale française en Afrique.
We have enlarged the antagonist feeling against the French occupation in Africa.
Mais nous restons très focalisés sur la question monétaire.
But we are very focused on the economical issue.
Nous sommes connectés dessus, ma sœur.
We are
Merci
connected
beaucoup.
to that.
On est ensemble. Thank you.
Brothers and sisters, this will be the last question, okay? It's the last question.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm gonna try and speak in English.
Merci beaucoup. Je vais essayer de parler en anglais.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Brother Kemi, again for coming.
You're welcome.
My question is, I mean, you were talking about economic, you were talking about money, and my question just came in my mind because we were talking about money. So, for us to be free, we need to have some sort of economic base. When I'm talking about economic basis, I'm thinking of, you know, because I've been following you, I know your wife and stuff, so you know you guys created some sort of centers in Centre, in Benin that kind of created money, to bring money. I forgot the name of the center who were promoting. Les centres, vous avez créé un centre là. Yeah. Okay. So my question is now is, how can you educate us in terms of, for us to be free, we need to have money. We need to produce money, because we can scream, we can mobilize and stuff, but if we don't have money, we end up being manipulated. It's happened before and it keep happening. They keep manipulating our people, they keep producing puppets, so we need to have money. I'm really sorry, but it is what it is. So what can we do? And also I want you to touch, kind of inform people what you guys created in Benin, because les centres que vous avez créés là, so people can kind of be inspired as well. Precisely, I'm really insisting economic. You created, I don't know si tu te souviens, vous avez un centre là que vous avez créé, centre commercial.
Toi, tu es congolaise.
Nada se make now.
Yeah.
Je suis ta belle-sœur.
So,
yeah.
if it's okay, I'm going to translate so far.
Yeah,
okay?
that's it.
So,
That's my question, yeah? Thank you. Oh, sorry, there is a sister here.
I'll be very quick. You can follow up.
Thank you.
My name is Janine. I'm from Martinique. Je m'appelle Janine, je suis de la Martinique. Je sais à quel point ma question va être un petit peu controversée. My question is going to be a little bit controversial. I know in my island how much religion is used to keep people divided. You talked a lot about division. Je sais à quel point la religion sur mon île a divisé les gens. Ma question c'est, Kemi, can we today believe in God and be a Christian and be a Muslim and be a Jewish and be
Very important.
Because this is something that's still dividing our people. And also, can we still be called Peter, John? Can you send a message to the young generation to give names to our children?
Very important.
Which is from our ancestors. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Je vais essayer de traduire les deux questions.
I think that everybody has understood.
Okay.
I think that everybody has understood. And if you agree, I will start with the hand and finish with the beginning of the question. Okay? All of these questions are very important, but I think that it's important to start with the hand for this example. I will speak French, you will translate. Ma chère sœur,
Dear sister,
la question religieuse a été une question qui nous a trop divisés.
the religious question is one that has divided us for many times.
Et en vivant en Afrique,
And living in Africa,
j'ai compris que si nous croyons naïvement que nous pourrons unifier tous les hommes et toutes les femmes noires sous une seule religion, nous nous trompons.
I understood that if we believe that we could naively unite all men and women under a single religion, we got it completely wrong.
Ça n'arrivera jamais.
It would never happen.
C'est ce que je pouvais penser à une certaine époque quand j'étais dans la diaspora.
That is what I was thinking at a certain time when I was living in the diaspora.
Et j'ai compris que ça ne sera jamais possible en vivant à l'intérieur de l'Afrique.
But I understood that it will never be possible by living in Africa.
Et j'ai développé une pensée critique en vivant depuis ces 13 dernières années en Afrique.
And I developed a more critical thought process by living in Africa over the last few years.
Qui était de la nécessité de créer des ponts entre les diverses formes de spiritualité de notre peuple.
Which is about the importance of creating bridges between the multiple forms of our spiritualities.
Dans ce livre, je parle du fait qu'il y a des traditionalistes.
In this book, I talk about the fact that they are traditionalists.
Il y a des noirs chrétiens.
There are Christian black people.
Il y a des noirs musulmans.
There are Muslim black people.
Il y a des rastas.
There are Rastafaris.
En apparence, ils paraissent tous différents.
In appearance, they all look different.
Mais quand vous étudiez les choses sur le terrain métaphysique,
but when you look at things on a spiritual realm, on the metaphysical realms,
même certains, comme les noirs chrétiens d'Éthiopie ou certains noirs musulmans du Sénégal,
even other black, like the black Christian of Ethiopia or the Muslim black of Senegal,
sans le savoir, eux-mêmes sont tous liés à nos ancêtres.
Without knowing it, they are all linked to our ancestors.
Insulter la croyance des uns en disant tu es musulman, tu es aliéné, ou tu es chrétien, tu es aliéné n'est pas une bonne méthode.
To curse at the others saying that you are Muslim and you are Christian and therefore you have self-hatred and you don't know yourself is not a good thing.
Parce que quelqu'un qui croit, qui a une croyance particulière, rien n'est plus important que sa foi.
Because to someone who believes, who has a particular belief, nothing is more important than their faith.
Ce que nous devons faire, c'est être capable de créer des liens pour chacun d'entre eux.
What we have to work on is to be able to build bridges for all of them.
Nous rappeler qu'il n'y a de Dieu que Dieu, il y a un seul Dieu.
To remember that there is only one God.
Et que Dieu Tout-Puissant a son gouvernement.
And that the God Almighty has his own government.
Les traditionalistes vont parler des ancêtres pour parler du gouvernement.
The traditionalists refer to them as ancestors.
Les Kémites vont parler des Netcherou pour parler de ce gouvernement.
The Kemet will talk about Netcheru to refer to this government.
Les chrétiens orthodoxes vont parler du conseil des 24 ancêtres, des 24 anciens. 24 elders for the Christian Orthodox. Ethiopian and West Africans. I will speak about this. You understand? The Muslim will speak about the metaphysical government, the angel, les anges.
The angels. The Muslim will talk about the angels.
The most important thing for us is to understand the architecture of the government of God. God, supreme being, and his government.
La chose la plus importante pour nous, c'est de comprendre le gouvernement de Dieu, Dieu le Tout-Puissant, Dieu l'être suprême.
En tant que peuple noir qui ont été déracinés, nous devons être liés à nos ancêtres.
As a black people that have been uprooted, we have to be linked to our ancestors.
Mais la vraie intelligence pour nous libérer sera de créer des correspondances entre les diverses formes de spiritualité.
But the true knowledge to us to be free will be to create different form of connection between those spiritualities.
Je donne l'exemple des deux pays qui résistent le plus au néocolonialisme aujourd'hui.
I'll give the example of the two countries that resist the most against neocolonialism in today.
C'est le Mali et le Burkina Faso.
Mali and Burkina Faso.
Si vous venez dans ce pays et vous dites ne crois pas en l'islam ou ne crois pas en le christianisme, vous pensez qu'ils vont vous écouter?
If you go in those countries today and you go around telling them that you should not believe in Christianity or you should not believe in Islam, do you think you'll get an audience?
Nous devons respecter les foi de chacun.
We have to respect each other's belief.
Et créer des ponts.
And build bridges.
Pour qu'ils soient liés à leurs ancêtres.
So that they may be linked and connected to their ancestors.
La loi la plus importante, c'est de croire en Dieu Tout-Puissant.
The most important law is to believe in God Almighty.
Certains disent, je ne crois pas en Dieu, je crois aux ancêtres.
Others say, I don't believe in God, I believe in the ancestors.
Mais vos ancêtres croyaient eux-mêmes en Dieu.
But the ancestors believe in God.
Nous devons respecter le Créateur.
We have to respect the Creator.
Et nous devons respecter son gouvernement que sont nos ancêtres.
And we have to respect his government that are our ancestors.
Nous devons faire que les musulmans ou les chrétiens soient pro-noirs avant toute chose.
We have to work so that Muslim or Christian be pro-black before everything.
Si tu es chrétien, tu dois être un noir pro-noir, un chrétien pro-noir.
If you are a Christian, you need to be a pro-black Christian.
Si tu es un musulman, tu dois être un musulman pro-noir.
If you're a Muslim, you have to be a pro-black Muslim.
Il y a des musulmans en Palestine, ils sont pro-palestiniens.
There are Muslims in Palestine who are pro-Palestine.
Pourquoi? Parce que les Palestiniens sont opprimés.
Because Palestinians are oppressed.
Alors les musulmans qui sont noirs, les noirs qui sont musulmans doivent être pro-noirs aussi, parce que les noirs sont opprimés.
So the black that are Muslim also have to be pro-black because black people are also.
Est-ce que vous comprenez ce que je suis en train de dire? C'est très important. Et dedans, dans cet ouvrage, j'amène toutes ces populations et toutes ces composantes à revenir aux ancêtres sans manquer de respect à leur foi.
So in this book, I'm calling up all these populations to reconnect to the ancestors without disrespecting people's faith.
Parce que la foi est importante pour chacun.
Because faith is important to everyone.
Mais un arbre sans racines ne tient pas.
But a tree without its root will not grow.
Et les racines, ce sont nos ancêtres.
And the root is our ancestors.
Voilà ma réponse à ta question complexe, ma sœur.
That's the answer.
Merci infiniment.
Thank you.
Et maintenant, je reviens à la première question de ma chère sœur.
And now we're going to address the first question of Sister Francine.
Dont l'accent m'a rappelé le Congo, mais peut-être que je me trompe.
Which is Congolese. With a Congolese accent.
En gros, la question c'était comment faire. C'était pour soutenir Bien sûr. On va être très clair.
So we're going to be clear on that.
Ta question était comment faire pour avoir de l'argent, et je pense que notre organisation Urgence Pan-Africaniste est la meilleure synthèse et le meilleur exemple pour cela.
And the question was, how do we do to have money, to acquire money? And our organization, Urgence Pan-Africanism, is probably one of the best examples for that.
Quand on a commencé le combat politique, il y a de nombreuses années de cela, il y a 25 ans maintenant,
When you started the political struggle about 25 years ago,
nous n'avions pas d'argent.
we did not have any funds.
Les gens nous regardaient comme des rêveurs. Oh, vos histoires de noirs là, on va rien gagner dedans.
People were looking at us as daydreamers. Oh, you're a black African story. Huh? There's nothing to be gained there.
Maintenant, ils nous voient voyager aux quatre coins du monde.
Today, they see us traveling in the four corners of the world.
Ils nous voient organiser nos diasporas et nos peuples noirs en Afrique et dans la diaspora aux quatre coins du monde.
They see us organizing the black people in masses in Africa and the diaspora in the four corners of the world.
Et vous savez que voyager demande de l'argent.
And you know that traveling requires money.
N'est-ce pas?
Right?
Donc cela a signifié que nous avons réussi à créer un business model pour avoir des fonds pour mener notre combat.
So that means that we've managed to create a business model to fund our struggle.
Nous avons été capables de mener une contestation qui a inspiré beaucoup de gens.
We're able to lead a protest that inspired many.
Au départ, beaucoup de jeunes footballeurs noirs qui jouent en Europe ou de rappeurs, d'artistes qui sont en Europe ou sur le continent africain ont commencé à nous soutenir.
In the beginning, many African footballers living in Europe or many artists, African artists living in Europe started to sponsor them, to support them.
Je vais donner l'exemple d'un frère qui a été très important au début, il est moins présent maintenant, mais qui nous a beaucoup supporté, que je vous demande d'applaudir, qui est Nicolas Alelka.
One of the brothers that was very important support in the beginning was the footballer Nicolas Anelka, who sponsored them a lot in the beginning.
Qui a beaucoup soutenu financièrement notre organisation parce qu'il est touché par notre combat politique.
Who gave a large financial support to their organization because he was really touched by the political struggle.
Je pourrais citer beaucoup d'autres footballeurs qui jouent encore en club, mais je n'ai pas envie de leur faire perdre leur poste.
I could name many others that are still playing today, but I do not want them to be losing their jobs.
Parce que si on sait qu'ils nous supportent, ce n'est pas sûr que ce soit bon.
Because if they know that they're supporting us, we're not sure if it'll be good for them.
Mais je peux parler du frère Bakayoko qui joue au Milan AC aujourd'hui.
But I can talk about the brother Bakayoko, who plays for AC Milan today.
Je peux parler du frère Samuel Umtiti qui nous a soutenus un temps.
We can talk about the brother Samuel Umtiti, who sponsored them for a while.
Je peux parler des frères Fati qui étaient les titulaires de l'équipe du Sénégal à une certaine époque.
I can talk about the Fati brothers who were managing the Senegalese team at some point.
Et d'autres que je ne citerai pas.
And others that I will not mention.
Mais les donations de certains sportifs à titre individuel ne peuvent pas suffire pour mener un combat politique et pour pouvoir voyager aux quatre coins du monde.
But those donations of individual footballers will not be enough to sustain a political struggle and to be able to travel, fund all the travel that they have around the world.
À un moment donné, notre combat a atteint une telle popularité en Afrique francophone et dans la diaspora que, comme je vous le disais tout à l'heure, beaucoup de pays se sont rapprochés de nous.
At some point, our struggle has reached so many people in Africa and in the diaspora that, as I mentioned earlier, many leaders of oppressed countries have reached out to us.
Alors, on a rencontré plein de pays, de dirigeants de pays et d'organisations.
So we have met many leaders of many countries and of many organizations.
On a rencontré des représentants du Hezbollah.
We met representatives of the Hezbollah.
Ils nous ont dit, tu veux des armes?
They asked us, do you want weapons?
Et on leur a dit, nous ne voulons pas des armes, mais nous voulons des moyens financiers pour mener nos actions politiques et pour mener nos actions sociales.
We say we don't want weapons. We want financial support to be able to lead our political struggle and our economical struggle.
On a demandé ça à Cuba.
We asked that to Cuba.
Nous avons demandé ça à la Russie.
We asked the same thing to Russia.
Nous avons demandé ça à l'Iran.
We asked the same thing to Iran.
Et tous ces pays nous ont à un moment donné tellement financés que l'on a pu créer notre écosystème.
And all of those sponsors, all of those countries have given so much fund that enabled us to create our own ecosystem.
Et créer nos propres structures.
And create our own structures.
Et acheter nos propres terres.
And buy our own lands.
Ils ne nous ont pas financés parce qu'ils aiment les Noirs.
They did not finance us because they love black people.
Ils nous ont financés parce que nous sommes parmi les plus dangereux Noirs contre l'Occident.
They finance us because we are amongst the most dangerous black people in the struggle against the West.
Et ils ont compris la nécessité de nous financer.
And they understood the importance of funding us.
Et suite à ça, nous avons créé nos propres structures.
And following from that on, we are able to build our own structures.
Certaines structures, comme la sœur en a parlé, n'ont pas marché.
Some of the structure, as those mentioned by the sister Francine, did not work out.
Parce que quand nous demandons à nos frères et sœurs de consommer local, nos frères et sœurs préfèrent consommer extérieur au local.
Because when we ask our brothers and sisters to buy local products, our brothers and sisters far prefer buying foreign products.
Mais nous avons aussi acheté des terres,
but we also bought some lands,
à l'intérieur desquelles nous cultivons beaucoup d'aliments,
inside of which we are doing a lot of agriculture, growing food and crops,
que nous vendons,
that we are selling,
et qui participent à l'économie locale aussi.
And are also contributing to the local economy.
Nous avons créé cet écosystème, nous seuls, des jeunes noirs de la trentaine, de la quarantaine, de la vingtaine, en ne comptant que sur notre intelligence et notre capacité à tirer bénéfice du combat que nous menons.
We've built this ecosystem by ourselves. Young black people in the 30s, 20s, 40s, by only relying on our own our own intellect, our own capacities to be able to build the plans that we wanted.
C'est pour ça que je vous dis à ceux qui ne s'intéressent pas à la géopolitique, vous faites une grosse erreur.
And that's why I'm telling those who do not care about geopolitics that you are making a huge mistake.
Parce que ceux qui nous ont le plus soutenus financièrement, ce n'étaient pas des noirs.
Because those who sponsored us the most financially were not black people.
C'était les ennemis de nos ennemis.
They were the enemies of our enemies.
Soyons intelligents et stratèges.
Let us be smart and strategic.
Et l'autre moyen pour nous soutenir financièrement,
and the other way in which we are funded financially,
ma chère sœur, c'est d'acheter nos livres.
Is to buy our book.
Thank you very much.
So you can buy them. Thank you very much.
Brothers and sisters, big round of applause, Brother Kemi Seba. All right. Stay standing, stay standing. Please raise your right hand in the air and place your left hand on your heart. And repeat after me. I am because we are. And since we are, therefore I am. I have life because we exist. I am strong because we have power. I have worth because we value our existence. I am committed because we have discipline and direction. I am ready because we have work to do. I am ready because we have work to do.
I am ready because we have work to do.
I am ready because we have work to do.
I am ready because we have work to do.
Medai, thank you very much, brothers and sisters. Please get your books and travel home safely.